Oh, hey, didn't see you guys there. Well, welcome. You're here in my office. And I want to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to go through this week. We got an extra long compilation for you guys. We know you love these compilations. We want to kind of just catch you up on all the things that we've done over the past couple of weeks. Specifically talking about pests in Mexico, comparing Mexican houses to American houses, talking about the political situation and how does Kamala Harris now running for president affect whether we want to go back to America or not. And even the things we hate about going back to America in general, just those differences and feeling like Mexico is home now and maybe America isn't so much home anymore. So stay tuned, sit down, get you some popcorn, cup of coffee, and, do a little marathon sessions with us. I'll see you guys after the intro. Welcome back to the 7997 podcast. We are your hosts, Chris and Jacki.
Hello.
And as always, every week, every day, every year, every minute, every second, every hour.
Oh my Lord.
We are just trying to get closer to each other and closer to you.
Y'all know he lying.
And this week, we're
every minute, every second of what are you
every
talking
second,
about?
every hour.
Oh my God.
Pretty sure it's a song lyric.
I'm about to say it sound like one of them 90s Nehu songs.
No. This is more New Jack Swing, Teddy Riley. Every second, every minute, every hour. Bam, 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 bam.
But y'all excited? Politics in the U.S.?
Oh yes, it's a mess
situation. What'd you just say?
It's a mess as usual.
Oh well.
It's different. It's exciting.
It's interesting.
And I think the question this week is: there's a lot of excitement around Kamala and the new running mate Walls. Mm-hmm. They're raising money like nobody's business. The hope is that, if they win, they start to change the perception of America and its politics and hopefully make some permanent good change. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I believe all that's going to happen just from this one presidency, but
it can happen.
It's hopefully at least a roadblock to go in the other direction for some amount of time. Mm-hmm. The question is, if Kamala gets elected, are we going back?
So first of all, Vice President Harris.
Kamala's my girl, okay?
And Governor,
I'm not a journalist. I'm not up to all the rules of having to call her the right name and the right
Walls,
title. I just call it how I see it. I'm not on CNN right now.
Anyway, would we go back? Man.
Actually, before we answer that question, let's ask this question. Why did we leave? And then we can see if we left for these reasons, have these reasons changed enough for us to go back?
Right.
So.
Man, that's a good question, babe.
While you think about it, some of the reasons we left, obviously politics is part
of it. That's good. Do a rundown. Yeah. Do a little checklist.
Obviously, Trump's presidency changed the dynamics of politics in the U.S.
Did it?
It became a lot more complicated, complex in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. I will give them credit for being creative with the ways that they want to make things change. Mm-hmm.
Is that the
Supreme Court, justices in, stacking the federal courts with judges,
just crooked and evil,
crazy executive orders,
my gosh,
just doing pretty much whatever they want, and saying, okay, test me and see if you can kind of, knock down whatever I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So that environment politically was just really charged. Mm-hmm. I think there's an America now where it's hard to have a conversation about any type of politics without there being sort of this really diametrically opposed, angry, furious conversation sometimes.
Like an East and West, right? Oil and water kind of thing, yeah.
So that's kind of one thing, but also I think that political climate also helped to fuel the violence that goes on in America. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that the violence wasn't there before Trump. Right. Obviously, none of that violence is new.
Right.
But I think people that maybe were quiet about their racist intentions and the violence they might connect to it have stopped being so quiet about it and have no problem, expressing that violence along with it.
Yeah, thus the births of the Karens and Kens.
Karens and... Was it Karen Kens? Ken is the other one?
I think Ken is the guy. If
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If not,
that's news to me. I
today.
Didn't know that. Ken was the official one.
Live. Recorded or whatever. On the 7997 podcast, the male counterpart to Karen is Ken. Mm-hmm. Y'all drop a comment if I'm right. I think it is Ken though.
So a couple episodes we coined the phrase brown collar job. So now we're coining the phrase Ken as opposed to Karen.
You're welcome.
Okay. So politics, we're looking at violence, obviously the racism in the country, affordability, cost of living. And I think people like to think about, oh, there's a black person elected as president. That means racism's over.
Yeah, oh, yes or no?
No.
Yes or no?
So
let me tell you how you know racism isn't over.
Yeah.
I think everybody on Vice President Harris's VP list were all Caucasian.
Yeah.
So racism is not over.
Yeah.
Because guess what? She could have been like, you know what? My girl Condi Rice says she'll change her R to a D. Maybe I'll look at Condi Rice or Gretchen Whitmer or but a female as well, right? But
so it's not only racist,
it's sexist as well, exactly. Because there could have been a whole lot more options, right? Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, and if you're from Maryland, you know how to say Maryland, but Governor Moore, right? So her entire list, if I'm not mistaken, was 100% Caucasian.
Yeah.
Maybe Governor Whitmer, maybe Amy Klobuchar maybe hit the list.
She was on the list or not.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I saw 99 men folks on that list. So yes, America is still sexist and is still racist.
Right. But we might elect a black Indian woman as president.
Yeah, but
racism's
to
over.
Be comfortable, we have to have
racism's over, everybody.
Have to have a Caucasian young man, to balance her out. Same what happened with President Obama. Yeah. He picked Joe Biden. Right.
Sleepy Joe. Yeah.
He had to have, I call him, y'all, President Papa Joe. He had to have
Grandpa.
Papa Joe, right. A white man that can vouch for me. And America is just that way.
Yeah.
But good things came out of their presidency. You know what I mean? A lot of that whole ACA, what was it, the Affordable
Care Act.
Yeah. What a blessing that was for not just some people, but a whole lot of people. Not just Democrats, but Republicans too.
And the official name is Obamacare.
Is it really?
No, but we're going to call it Obamacare. So we know who to attribute it to.
And you're welcome, Mr. Obama. Thank you very much, right? But I think something like that could happen with the Harris-Walz kind of a presidency.
Right. So at the end of the day, we live in these, as they say, unprecedented times.
Correct.
One candidate is a convicted felon. We have a president who...
Still crazy, still evil. And his new sidekick, all help us, Jesus, JD.
He's
keep
a special
moving.
guy.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, they say they're weird people.
They're evil and just crazy. Go ahead.
The current president has stepped out of the race. And has then made way for the vice president to kind of step up behind him. And it was weird. There's a video from, I want to say late 60s, early 70s, Gerald Ford. Was it Gerald Ford? Maybe it's Gerald Ford. I may forget the right president. But it was a young girl who asked him at a speaking engagement or something like, do you think a woman will ever be president? And he said, yes, I do. But I think what will happen is the president will be a man, the vice president will be a woman, and the president will die, and then she will take his place.
Really?
So, like, he predicted it literally decades ago.
Oh,
Granted,
wow.
Joe didn't die. But,
right.
Health issues obviously took him out. So it's interesting that somebody kind of looked forward enough to see that situation.
It could happen.
Like, it wasn't going to be a straight up,
right.
Put her on the ticket and she's going to win.
Correct.
If Kamala wins this time, then maybe next time it becomes a straight up a woman on the ticket winning.
And let's be clear, this is not the first time women have run for office.
Oh, no, for sure.
You have Shirley Chisholm. Obviously, you have Hillary Clinton. I cannot remember other women who, if y'all remember, and got your history, your A's and B's in history, drop that comment. But I definitely remember Shirley Chisholm. And I remember, obviously, like I said, Hillary Clinton. Do you know of any other women who have just gone straight out there?
Elizabeth Warren.
Well, they ran. Yeah, that's true. That's
Klobuchar and Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
A lot of women
good.
have run.
You see that? Yeah. That's why I keep him around.
Those are folks that kind of got weeded out in the primaries.
Right. Correct.
But yeah, a lot of women have run. Nobody's kind of made it to the mountaintop just yet.
Yeah.
I think Hillary's probably the closest so far.
Hillary. Hillary and Hillary and. Well, I guess Hillary did get the nomination.
Yeah.
She did. And then sexism came on in. They'd rather have Trump than a woman.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So other things happening in these unprecedented times is that the Republican Party has their Project 2025 put together, which is meant to sort of reshape government in their own image, stack the deck in their favor, put people in, get MAGA affiliated people in pretty much as many positions as they can.
My Lord. Literally going back from a historical lens, like back to Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And even Trump himself kind of hinting at in one of his speeches that, hey, once I get elected, you won't have to vote anymore.
And
like,
y'all better be listening.
We don't know exactly what that means, but it doesn't sound like democracy at the end of the day.
What? It don't sound right.
So putting all that together, I guess what Kamala and Walz have to do at this point is solve racism.
You're welcome.
Solve systemic racism. Fix the politics.
You could do it.
Get rid of the violence.
Hey.
And stop Trump from trying to do whatever. Well, I shouldn't even say Trump. The Republican Party from trying to do whatever they're trying to do.
The whole movement, right?
And then lower the cost of living to something that's maybe even competitive with what we have in Mexico.
Right.
Can she do it? Is she your girl for that?
She'll need 8 years.
She'll need 8 lifetimes to do that.
Well, without sounding creepy, well, no, I can't even say that. I can't even say that. I was going to say a lot of these people who are establishment kind of folks, right, who are keeping their nasty, evil, divisive hopes alive and all those dreams alive. I was going to say a lot of those keepers of their dream nightmare for most of us, they're going to be dying off soon. And again, I don't want to say I'm creepy. However, they have the JD Vances. They have the younger folks coming behind them.
Ideas don't die with people.
That's right. And let me tell you, we were just looking at the 1968 documentary, and that's why I had to correct myself. Because I'm like, well, cool. Well, maybe some of those folks with those ideologies are dying off. I'm not saying I'm waiting for people to die, but what I am saying is that it is a natural thing, right? And a lot of those torchbearers are aging. I mean, Trump he's 78, so let's stop playing, right? McConnell and all other people who were carrying his water and fighting his fight, they're aging out. But you can't kill the dream.
Right.
The dreamer can die, but you still have their negative ideologies around. So, and people who are willing to fight for it or die for it, whatever. So the question is, would I consider going back? Things would really have to be. It would have to just be so much more substantially better, right? So, from my understanding, in Minnesota, where Governor Walz is located, right, he took an approach that had the people first. Now, if he can get that to translate around the world, around our country, then we actually may have a fighting chance, right? So if it's okay with you guys, he goes, I'd like to go ahead and fight for kids to be able to have breakfast and lunch for free. So free meals, that's something that you can put your vote behind. Healthcare. So they have proper health care. Irrespective of what people do with their bodies and their lives, they have proper health care. You know what I mean? And it's affordable. But something that stuck out to me is the affordable college. Right? So I haven't done any research on it, just based off of what I have heard. It's families, if they make under $80,000, and I apologize for not doing a little bit more research, guys, but just from what I've heard, remember, I heard it, it's not gospel. If the families in Minnesota make under $80,000, tuition is free. And normally that goes to a local community college or a state-run university.
You're not getting into Harvard with that.
Right, you're not, right, exactly. You're not going to Harvard. So it's like, oh, that is so common sense. That is so, when you start having policies for people, then that's something I can get behind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I saw our last water bill. It was 200 pesos.
209 pesos. I just paid it yesterday.
And that was for 2 months.
No, water bill's 1 month.
Oh, I thought it was 2 months.
No, 1 month.
He pays the bills. Go ahead.
Which is about
$11.
$10-11, yeah.
So America still can't. They still
compete,
can't play with the utilities. Like our most expensive electric bill was on 100-degree temperatures in May and June, and our electric bill finally got over $50-$60, right?
Yeah, it was $75 for 2 months.
So so America still has a.
It still has the advantage in that in the cost
They gotta
of living
come
category.
up. They gotta.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's more things that draw us back other than those key points. Obviously we have family back home.
Yeah. And safety, babe. I've been talking about, but safety is big.
Yeah,
it's big because that was the straw that brought the camel's back for me. Going to go vote, and then having that doggone pickup truck with those guys and all those flags, and it wasn't just Trump flags, it's the American flag, and it's just like, and I have folded up American flag because, like, from my dad and from G-Dad, so I know that they are not the only ones that can claim the flag as theirs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they have the flag and his flags and driving by, and terrorizing the complex as we go vote. I mean, I need to be able to feel comfortable that my fellow countrymen are not going to not only terrorize my community, not terrorize me, but also that my law enforcement personnel are going to be there to help me too, not hurt me, because there's still things popping off now. You know what I mean? As of a couple of weeks ago, people getting hurt in their own homes. So yeah, America still has a lot to do.
but a vote for Kamala fixes all those things instantly.
And
just like that.
Insane.
As soon as you pull that little the whole world just changes, rainbows appear in the air.
And then everyone's wearing pink and green and purple.
Everybody turns into AKAs.
Everybody turns to an AKA. Oh, Lord.
So I'm going to add a wrinkle into it, I think.
Help us, Lord.
Where I was going before I was so rudely eloquently interrupted.
You're welcome.
There are other things that I think could draw us back.
Okay.
That would make us deal with those issues, withstand those issues.
Grandchildren.
Grandchildren are always a big influence.
And I'm not rushing nobody.
Definitely not rushing anybody anytime
Seriously,
soon,
we're not.
Because we want to stay away as long as possible without any real draw. Because our kids are grown. Like, they're grown. Like,
they're grown. Yeah.
I don't have to be back for y'all. Mm-hmm. They're adults. That's your life. But then when you get the little person, it's like, okay, you want to spend some time with the grandchild. You don't want to be super far away. So that's something that could, at least I think, make us think a little bit more seriously about going back. But I think I wouldn't necessarily, I would think about the way that I went back.
Right.
Where would I live? How much I would spend? Like, I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if I necessarily want to be in a super big city. I might want to be in a small town outside of a big city. I don't think it's necessarily anywhere that's necessarily super safer than anywhere else necessarily.
Because America has,
Southside Chicago versus small town Iowa. There's a difference there. For
sure,
sure,
but America has sort of kind of broken
down
all
Iowa
those
has
boundaries.
just as many guns as Southside Chicago. They just happen to be automatic rifles, and they go hunting with them.
Hey.
But I would think that would be the one thing that would kind of tip the scales a little bit, is having more family back home to connect to.
Yeah.
Which at the very least would make us, I think, travel back home more than we do.
Yeah.
So I would say that. Do I think Kamala will fix the political situation? I think it's going to be just as divided as it always is. Usually once one president comes into the power, the Congress kind of flips into the opposite direction, so then it always becomes this roadblock of getting any legislation done.
Hopefully that changes, though. Y'all vote in your local elections. Sorry, go ahead. That was a PSA.
Cost of living is going to be about the same. I'm sure we can find places that are cheaper to live in the U.S. than where we were in North Carolina, which North Carolina was very inexpensive, and now, particularly in Charlotte where we were, is a lot more expensive now.
Off the chain.
A little crazy there. I don't see the violence changing very much. I think once they get in the office, they'll do away with automatic guns at least, which would be helpful.
Right. That's something else they did in Minnesota too.
Yeah.
He tackled gun reform. You know what I mean? See, common sense things. It's okay.
But it's like, okay, now you can't kill 30 people at one time. You can kill just 5. It's like progress, but it's like it's not the same thing. And even like the protests and riots in England right now, like there was what they call a mass stabbing, and it was 3 little girls, but like it was 3 people. Like you can't get that many people with a knife at the end of the day.
But I'd rather have gun reform and gun control than not.
Absolutely. So definitely want some progress to be made in a lot of areas. But I don't think this particular presidential ticket is the one that's going to make some sort of massive change. I think it's more of a blocking maneuver to try and stop the other side from going further into their own agenda. But it's only a matter of time before they get back into power.
You think so?
Absolutely. I mean, history shows that particularly once you, as a president, get 8 terms, the other side always wins.
Always flips.
It always flips. So like there's always sort of this balancing act of what kind of happens. But I don't know, maybe, history is never perfectly cycled itself. It always kind of changes with time.
Correct.
So final answer, Kamala wins, we pack up and move back, yes or no?
No.
No. Okay, I'm a no too.
But guess what we're going to do? We're voting.
Absolutely.
We did not burn our cards, our Social Security cards. We didn't,
They ain't worth nothing anyway.
But you understand what I'm saying, right? So we have ordered our absentee ballots, and so we're going to be voting. So we're encouraging you guys to vote, to learn about the candidates, to get into that national, and like I said, those local elections.
Probably more important than the national.
Guys. So I definitely want to encourage you with that. But I just want to touch on the grandchildren piece, though.
All right, go ahead. I was just trying to be cute and you ain't had nothing to say.
But I would be on the plane so fast. Y'all be like, what in the world?
Now, to be clear, my oldest son and his wife live in Queens, 5-story walk up.
Oh yeah, they.
You're not running nowhere.
Women.
Or you might go up there and just stay.
Okay.
And never come back down.
Correct.
Yeah.
There you go. I get my priorities straight.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this, at last little bit, the past month, as you can see, is a huge change. It was a huge,
as far as the excitement
political,
around. Yeah.
It was a huge political shift, and I just want to take a moment to just say thank you to President Papa Joe, and that is what I've called you for the past 4 years, President Papa Joe, and I don't think he would be offended by that. I appreciate his sacrifice over the past 50, 60 years, and the past couple of years, I think he did the right thing. For sure. And at the same time, he also what he did a month ago, he actually is fulfilling what he said he was going to do. 4 years ago, he was like, okay, cool. I see this fool is really, really he's going to take us to hell in the handbasket. So he stepped in to sacrifice all this. He knew he was getting older then. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know if I agree with your narrative the way you're painting it right now.
Well, what I remember,
I think he thought, I'm still spry, I still got it, I'm gonna go run again. And he actually said before that he was only gonna run once.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
So like, if you see that there's a problem coming, okay, who is the best person to go up against?
Yeah, but he thought it was himself. Always,
as a human being, you feel like I still got it. And at some point, somebody lets you know that you ain't got it.
Right.
And that debate showed that he ain't got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I wish he had kind of stepped aside a little bit sooner.
I know.
So we'd be maybe in a better place at this point.
I know. That was.
But
wild,
I mean, the excitement that's generated now might be better this way than it kind of happened late. Who knows?
Correct. I just appreciate him. I just want to take that time to say I appreciate you.
That is not my perspective. I don't put my faith in man at all.
Oh no!
I'm not saying you're doing that.
I'm just telling the brother thank you.
He's doing what he has to do when he has to do it.
Yeah.
So he thought he was good enough to go on carry through for another 4 years. He is not.
Yeah, he was.
He should have realized that a little bit sooner.
Yeah.
But either way, we are where we are right now, and we'll see how it turns out from a distance, from afar over here.
Yes.
But whatever happens there affects here too. So like,
that is
these two countries are very connected. You can't get away from that.
We're connected by more than just power lines.
Yes.
If y'all know where that's from, drop it in the comments. But y'all got to comment, please. For the record, commenting. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. You comment, you send out questions, you let us know what's on your minds and your hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, some of y'all leaving, dissertations, but we read them.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly my husband, but we do read them, and we thank you for taking time because we appreciate you. For
and it's important that you guys comment and participate. Number one, so we know y'all are out there.
Yeah, and subscribe,
but
y'all.
Number two, when y'all comment and give us feedback, that's what creates more episodes. That what gives us ideas to say, hey, we should talk about this because you guys care about it and you're talking about it.
That is so true.
And on that note, we're going to shut it down for this week. And if you kind of watch us or you watch other YouTubers who go through Mexico, kind of give you some, background on what they're going through, we have a video for you of things that maybe they're not telling you about Mexico. Maybe they're painting this perfectly rosy picture, or maybe they're painting a perfectly grim picture. But the reality is probably somewhere in the middle, and I think that's what we try to give you week after week.
Tacos, tulips, and tequila.
Yeah.
There's more.
More to it than that.
We promise you it's more.
797.
You doing the robot over there?
Maybe. Hey, guys.
And as always, every minute, every second, every hour, we're trying to get closer to each other and closer to you guys. Thank you for commenting.
You're so dramatic.
If you're commenting, you should be subscribed to.
Please and thank you guys.
Like, comment, subscribe, buy us a coffee. I don't even think we said that last episode. It's so much, like you say it over and over again. You guys already know. You're on YouTube. You've been here long enough. You know what the thing is.
You know what to do, guys.
Click all the buttons.
Please and thank you.
So you can see more of our content, and we know that you actually want to see more content.
Push the buttons.
Yes.
We greatly appreciate it.
So last week we talked about if Kamala wins the election, will we go back for that? The answer was a resounding no.
It's a no.
Nothing against Kamala, but there's far too many problems for one or two election cycles to fix. Unless something drastic really happens.
Unless something real drastic happens. Like real drastic.
But we live in these unprecedented times.
I'm just saying.
You never know what might happen.
You never know.
But I think the bigger question is...
mule actually going, I might go back for my 40 acres and my mule.
Good luck with that.
Okay, I'm just saying. You said drastic. That's drastic. I wouldn't mind a little reparations, little Uncle Reppy.
They're going to give you 40 acres in the middle of South Dakota somewhere.
That's all right. This is my 40 acres. You said
solid ice.
Said the last episode, well, I don't know where I want to live. I might want to be outside of a larger city. See, South Dakota. Move on.
There are no large cities in South
There
Dakota.
are two. It is a capital city.
That don't mean it's large.
Oh, help us, Lord. Go on.
What is it, Bismarck?
Yes.
See, I know my little
You better
geography.
go on.
That's probably North Dakota, but whatever. Same thing.
I think it's Bismarck,
just split in two. So the question is, like, why, as we thought about, why would we leave Mexico?
Mexico specifically.
And not necessarily to come back to the U.S., but to maybe go someplace else. And again, as we started the last episode, thinking about why did we leave in the first place? Again, there's that politics,
cost of living, safety, the violence, the racism, and one that I didn't really say last episode, but really like seeing the world. You've done more international too. Right, you've done more international traveling than I have. This is my first time out of the country into Mexico, but I definitely wanted to, before I leave this earth, see a little bit more of it. It's amazing. What did you say? It's amazing.
Oh, the earth?
What?
Oh, it's ugly, disgusting, and amazing at the same time.
Earth. It's the people that make it ugly and disgusting. But
yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Shoot.
So, kind of things like, what would we leave Mexico for? What are some things that would push us out of Mexico, or that would draw us to someplace else from Mexico? Because secretly, we've been looking at other options. If you kind of look at the world and see what's out there, you start seeing some stuff that, man, that looks kind of nice too. That look like it might be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep that under wraps until we happen to make a decision any one way or the other. Right. No time soon.
Right.
But is there something that would in Mexico that you would say, if this happened in Mexico, I would really want to get out? Yeah.
Well, you all should know me by now. I'm more of the touchy-feely heart kind of a person, right? Husband over there is head person. So for me, it would be community, and that's why I've always been drawn to go back to Africa, because of the sheer heart palpitations I got when I was there, you know, and it's not even being dramatic. It's just, I felt like I was home. You know what I mean? I felt like I was home, and the rhythms, the music, the people, we sound alike, we looked alike, like literally looked alike. I found a girl, we could have been, you know, at least first cousins. And so it's like, to be in a community like that, and it's not about being around all black people, it's about what community do I belong to? You know what I mean? Do I feel most comfortable in? And in that, for answering it for me, being in an all-brown community like South Africa was just amazing. So community and having the warm and fuzzies, you know, that's always amazing. It wasn't a perfect environment because there's still systemic, you know, they're still coming out of their racist things and apartheid, which was like American Jim Crow
like
and all
South
of
Africa
that.
specifically. Right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
South Africa specifically. So it was not this a perfect system, but it definitely gave me warm and fuzzy vibes. So community would be one.
And I think one thing that was interesting you said while you were there, there's still this sort of tiered system. And as a black American, you actually were above
The indigenous.
black people that were there.
Yep.
Which is sad, number one.
Yeah.
But the way the U.S. has kind of positioned itself in the world, a lot of places you go as an American, you are given
cut
some
the line,
higher
right?
status, right?
Yeah.
And also other places where you are the first to get shot in the head because we don't like y'all Americans.
Right.
You know, you go to Russia, they're going to throw you in jail. They don't
Locked
care
up.
who you are. You are a
Locked
bargaining token
up.
now. But yeah, please continue with your next
Thank you.
point. I'm sorry.
We also were thinking about quality of life, cost of living, right? And so there are, believe it or not, other places.
There are a lot of places that are even cheaper than Mexico. As in less expensive than Mexico. Because it's not cheap as in quality. The quality is great.
You gotta
in
be
a lot
very
of places.
careful. Correct.
Be very careful about that.
Yeah.
But places in Southeast Asia, places in Eastern Europe,
Africa. Yeah.
Are also very inexpensive compared to not only Mexico, of course, the United States, and offer a lot of these places offer a similar type of lifestyle.
Correct.
That you can get in the U.S. in a lot of ways.
Good
For a fraction of the
healthcare.
cost. Good healthcare.
Yeah.
Big point about healthcare, which is one I've been thinking about lately, is that I'm a kidney transplant recipient. And this kidney does not last forever. Maxes out 20 years tops if I treat it well. This belly is not treating it well right now. I need to get rid of the belly.
No
I'll treat it
comment,
well.
y'all.
But there is, you know, looking ahead, there's going to be some point where I'm going to need to replace this kidney or go back on dialysis or something. Like the kidney's just not going to be there forever. And I don't know if Mexico is the place where I want to possibly do a transplant. Looking into it, like it's not probably the best option they have a lot of great healthcare here. Transplantation is not one of the best things they do.
Oh, okay.
America is much, much better at that. There are other countries that are more developed that are much, much better at that.
Okay.
So, you know, when the time comes that I may start needing that, you know, option of healthcare, that will be a big kind of draw for me to go someplace else that has, you know, a healthcare system that is better equipped for that type of procedure.
Yeah.
So that's something definitely I'm kind of thinking about as well. Like, Mexico's great for now, but it doesn't necessarily meet every single need forever. And as you kind of change your lifestyle and where you are in life, you're going to find places that fit better with, you know, where you are at that point in life. And I think that's one of the things.
It's personalized,
for sure.
right?
It's personalized for sure.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Also, I would say cultural things too, you know. And seeing sights and of course part of culture is learning about the people, you know, their food, things of that nature, and maybe just doing something special and different. You know, we grew up on the water because we were from Washington D.C., but that's a river and creeks, you know what I'm saying? So So you got rivers and creeks in the Chesapeake Bay, but we've never.
I mean, the bay goes out into the Atlantic.
I know,
it's
but
not far from the Atlantic.
But you know, we had to. It's still a car ride.
Yeah, you got to drive across the state.
You got to drive. You know, get 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour away to get to a beach. You know what I mean? We could go to the waterfront and do those kinds of activities, but we've never lived on a beach. You know, we've never had those experiences. We've never lived in the mountains.
We live in the mountains.
Well, we do live in the mountains.
It's not like we're in the mountains, but it's not. I think what you stereotypically think of in the mountains, like you're in a cabin and.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're in the mountains for sure.
Okay. All right. I recant my statement. I am been corrected. You're annoying. But we've never lived near tropical rainforests and things of that nature.
All kinds of things we haven't experienced.
Yeah,
for sure.
gone shopping to get $2, shrimp.
Yeah.
That would be just go.
Because we're inland right now. Seafood is not cheap inland.
No.
You know, if you're on the shore, it's a different thing. But,
absolutely not.
We're too far from the coast.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, different experiences, and just being able to, for me, it's also a learning process, because for me anyway, when I go traveling, I'm looking to see what it is that I can learn from others, and maybe along the way I can drop off some nuggets too. You know what I mean? So I just think it'd be amazing to go see what else there is out there to learn, because we're still relatively young, relatively healthy, and I don't want to be walking with a cane, or if that's my how do you say it? I just would like to make the choices to do some more traveling while we are more physically able.
Right, more able to do it.
And, without a whole lot of impairment. Yes, we are overweight, and we know that. We read your comments. Thanks for reminding us. But, but thank the Lord, we're not wheelchair bound. We're not bound by oxygen tanks and things like that. We still got get up and go, So while we can, I would love to do that.
Yeah. I would say...
Sorry if that was so long-winded.
Possibility like the political situation here in Mexico is always in flux. It's changing. It's very different, I think, to what we are used to in the U.S. In that, like I see it in the comments for sure, of like, when the election happens, 30 people get killed that were running against the person that wins. And it's like there is a presence of the cartel and the government, and they really are working together in a lot of ways. They are a lot of give and take of like, we allow so much for you to do, and you also help us in some other ways. So I don't know if it gets to a point where that situation gets out of balance.
And it spills over.
The government gets a little crazy, cartel gets a little crazy. The balance of sort of what kind of evens things out. I'm sure plenty of parts of the country, are out of balance right now. We happen to be fortunate in a place where it's pretty safe for the most part. But, at some point there may not be a safe haven in the country.
That's true.
So, as the political situation changes, as many governments are doing around the world, they're trying to find ways, even within democratic situations, to hold on to power for as long as possible.
So things can pop off, right?
Right. And like, no matter where you go on this earth, you're going to probably have some kind of weird, messed up political situation. Like, there is no great political place, I think, when it comes to running a country and running people and being in charge of money and resources and people's lives and livelihoods. People don't know how to act. They get a little crazy.
Yeah, there's some better systems, but nothing's perfect.
Right, so it could get bad enough that maybe we feel like we need to leave here. And also, the cost of living here is also on the rise.
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Like, while it is less expensive than America, it's inexpensive. Depending on where you are, you can still be paying American prices. The city we're in, you can still be paying $3,000 to $4,000 a month for rent. You're going to get more for it, but you can still be paying that much money.
And of course, let's be clear though, that $3,000 rent would be 5 or 6 in the States.
Absolutely.
The house is going to be laid. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. And pools probably, and maid service included and all. So I mean, it's a different quality of life
for sure.
But if you don't want to pay $3,000 a month,
right,
you still don't have to.
Right, like my paycheck can get any bigger. So Whether I get more for that $3,000 or less, I
Yeah.
still can't afford it.
Right.
And then even Mexico as a country is really on the upswing now. It's really becoming a lot stronger. It's having a bigger presence in the world. Like a lot of
We
things.
keep encouraging y'all to come.
Right? And even looking at like as relations between the U.S. and China get more tense, Chinese companies are coming to Mexico and setting up because there already is this great relationship financially between U.S. and Mexico, and using that sort of a loophole to get around any sanctions or tariffs that may be put on Chinese things.
Yeah.
So
like for different manufacturing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So as they shut down the connection to China, they just say, "Oh, we're going to come over to Mexico and do business there."
They come south of the border.
They come and bring in a whole bunch of money and an influx of influence as well with it,
And workers too.
and workers and jobs, and they're enabling the economy now.
Yep.
Particularly like Monterey, I think is a big city that's really being driven by Chinese companies coming in. So the complexion of what Mexico was in the past and is now is changing dramatically.
Changing,
So it's going to really come up, I think, in the next couple of years, decades to come.
Yeah.
You'll see it being more powerful, more expensive.
Yeah.
People have a better life, and with better life generally comes bigger bills.
Yeah.
So there's always that. So what you might find is an inexpensive comparison to America right now might not always be that way.
Right. It's true.
So if that happens, again, there's a chance that maybe we move.
I'm out.
And also job situations. And if you've been around the channel for a while, you kind of heard about my job situation of moving down to Mexico and having my pay cut because of that. So like in the future, I'm really looking for a job that's really portable across country lines, borders, like it doesn't matter where you are. And there are a lot of companies out there that do that. They're getting fewer and fewer every day, it feels like. But having the ability to have a job and make money that you can take with you means that you don't have to
worth.
Paid your worth.
Get paid your worth.
Or close enough.
Yeah.
Enough that you can have a comfortable life so that you can move around and not feel like I have to be tied to this geographic region because my company is tied to the geographic region. I can kind of get up and move anywhere. And like if I want to go live for 6 months in Indonesia and go live for 6 months in Vietnam and 6 months in Albania, like you can go wherever you feel like. And I think to me that is a hopeful reality. I think it is a future that a lot of people would like to have. It's a present that a lot of people are actually living right now, particularly if you own your own business.
Correct.
That's online.
Yeah.
You can kind of do that from anywhere in most places.
That is correct.
The
That I'm encouraging him to do
digital
anyway.
nomad thing. But yeah, I think that again would be a draw to say, hey, I don't have to be tied to this particular place. Let's go see the world, live out of a suitcase if we have to, and go do that thing. So that would be awesome as well. So this is, I guess, a balancing act here of saying, we always tell you Mexico is great because Mexico is great in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the end-all, be-all. It's not necessarily your savior, your safe haven, your place to kind of come in and go woosah.
It's one of many countries.
Many places.
And it's a good space and place to be.
Yeah.
If you can be here, but it's not the end-all, be-all.
Right. And at the end of the day, we are citizens of Earth. And I think
we're Earth citizens.
as we start to realize
Lord,
that,
so silly.
world outside of the U.S. isn't necessarily as darkly painted as some would like it to be painted. It's actually a lot of nice places out there that you're missing out on.
Amazing.
People tell you are S-hole countries and they're not really. Go check them out.
Not even close.
They're really beautiful and nice and sometimes better than where you are right
You better
now.
say it all.
7,
9,
9,
7.
Today we were talking about the differences in houses between here and the U.S. I know for sure there's things that I miss about my home, my house back in the U.S. We happen to have a historical house, 100-year-old, 1920, mission-style Spanish home.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful house.
Pocket doors, y'all.
Yeah.
Penny tile. Original. Wavy glass.
Original hardwood floors.
See?
Yeah.
It was.
Grand staircase.
Yes.
Yeah.
Columns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wraparound porch.
Basement that would flood when it rained too hard.
Now, that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
That wasn't fun.
Yeah. So there are pluses and minuses, right?
All the time.
But one thing I'll say about that house that I wish we had here was 2 air conditioners. And I'm not talking about one in each room. I'm talking about air conditioner for each floor.
Correct. It was central
AC.
Correct. First floor had its own. Second floor, yep.
Yeah. Which, in our travels in Mexico, we have not seen central air conditioning very much.
Never.
You see a lot of sort of individual units in each room.
They call them like splits.
Yeah, mini splits.
Mini splits.
And we're in San Miguel, which doesn't get super duper hot for a long part of the year. So like even a lot of houses here just
don't have
air conditioning, period, whether it's central or mini splits.
We were talking about they have air conditioning. However, it's natural. They depend on Mother Nature.
Opening a window.
Is well, not just opening a window, babe, but a lot of the housing is like open.
True. There are some sort of indoor-outdoor living.
Yes.
Again, open the window.
No, more than a window though. Like there's some of there's a whole walls, like whole walls.
Yeah.
Or just it's just outside.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying.
So like I do miss being able to just kind of walk into a room
and it's
hit
cool.
The thermostat, get the whole thing cool. Of course, it does raise your energy costs. You are cooling and heating rooms that you're not in.
That you're not even in. Correct.
So there is some benefits to having it just in a single room. Whereas here, most of the year, we probably don't need it. Like,
right. No, it's true.
A day like today, it's a little warm. It's not super hot. It's rainy season. If you can see over my shoulder, it's raining outside.
Yeah, it's a little rainy.
So it's cooled off. We have a fan going because, you kind of need some circulation, some air.
And I'm going through the change.
I was about to say, if you hit that time of life, you're hot because your body says you're hot.
Got to have that fan.
You got to have a fan.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that we kind of stumbled upon is this fan, and I'll cut in some footage of the fan, that you can plug into a light socket.
That thing is bomb.
So we literally have 3. It basically becomes a ceiling fan because we have recessed lighting in the top. We can plug it into that light socket.
It screws like a bulb,
like a light bulb.
Yep.
It has a little extension on it. It actually has a remote control. You can control it from anywhere.
Yep. And a light.
And a light.
Variant lighting too, so you could.
Right, you can change the warmth
setting.
of the lighting. It can be cooler. It can be warmer.
Yeah.
You can make it brighter, cooler. All those things.
So fancy.
And we have 3 of them. There's one in the living room right above our heads. You can't see off camera. There's one in the kitchen, and I have one in my office.
Yes.
So it's basically a ceiling fan whenever you need it.
That is correct.
And anywhere you have a light socket, you can put it in there.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
If you got a little lamp, you can stick it in there and have it.
Could you really?
You really could. It's that flexible. So
is that the way they want you to use it?
I don't know if that's the way they want you to use it, but that's the way I
read the book. Read the manual before y'all start putting it.
They're not that expensive. If you're in Mexico, like this is not just like I had at home. Too.
Yeah, no, they're super helpful.
So for y'all who might be interested in it, we got a link in the description for that. Check it out if you want to purchase such things. We found it very useful for ourselves.
Very helpful.
And probably wherever we go, I think I'll probably keep it with me because it's just useful that way.
Yep.
So yeah, central AC is a big thing that I miss. I know something that is annoying here, and particularly because we're in San Miguel and it gets hot and there's a time of year where it does not rain and there's no water for 8 months out of the year. Not being able to drink the tap water.
Oh yeah.
Which means you got to go buy water from somewhere.
Buy garrafones of water.
Yeah. I definitely miss being able to just go to my tap and turn it on and get a cup of water and keep it moving.
Yep. Yeah.
And not have to lift a 5-liter big jug of water up onto the counter to get it onto the dispenser.
Yeah.
When the rainy season before it came in, there was a bit of a drought. So companies were literally running out of water. So our regular water guy that would come and deliver water for us got missing, couldn't find him.
And he gets you get nervous.
Because it's sustaining life, right?
Yeah, you start to get nervous. You see at the grocery store, like one time I went during the heat stroke period. Heat wave.
The heat wave that causes heat stroke, right?
Heat wave. Man, the aisle, it reminded me of COVID. I went PTSD a little bit. It was like, that's when I texted right back. Do I need to bring you a little, Miles hates this, Miles. Do I need to bring,
video game?
Yeah, I'm like, do I need to bring home a couple of little givers of water? Oh, that thing was nerve-wracking. And then on top of that, we live on an incline. Thank the Lord at the bottom of the hill is an OXO, so we can go grab water. But
you gotta get it up
you don't want to be carrying no 5-gallon thing up a hill. Yeah.
And like you couldn't get people to come out and deliver water because
Yeah.
they'll come out and deliver water on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
They'll have 3 trucks that come to the neighborhood.
That's true.
That come and drop off water.
That's true.
It's always way more expensive than everything else. But during that heat wave for a couple weeks, they weren't showing up.
Nope.
They weren't coming because they ain't had nothing.
They
to
were
come with.
furloughed.
Yeah, so you get to the point where can I use some water? We end up having to call Le Marnier, which is a little bit higher end, supposedly the best water in San Miguel is Le Marnier,
Le Marnier.
according to all the tests or whatever.
Okay. It's fancy.
So like we had to go through 4 or 5 different water companies. Like if you look at our front porch, I might cut a shot of that in there. Too. Got water bottles from like every company in town.
Company, right?
Because nobody wants to use each other's bottles. Like, okay, that's
We
the
have
only
to
fountain bottle. We
distinguish.
can't use that. We got to have our own.
It has to be
Pure
distinguishable,
bottle.
right? Whatever.
It's
Yeah.
just water. You're gonna fill it back up with water.
Right,
at the end of the
but
day.
I want to say something because
Yeah.
I know some of our viewers, they will comment. There are places in America where the tap water
Exactly.
is not potable, right? And then there are also places in America that have mini splits as well because they may have the same or similar kind of weather pattern where you really don't need air conditioning.
And also just
you
becoming
know,
more popular in general because it's easier to kind of put a single unit into a single room rather than having to run ducting throughout the entire house and
HVAC,
have a big
right?
thing outside. Like it's just easier and
Right.
more cost effective at the end of the day.
That's true. That's true. So I just want to make sure y'all know I know before y'all tell me that y'all know. Okay. But please leave comments. We appreciate them. We read them too.
Yeah. One thing I think about, and I think because you run a cooking business out of the house, so
Not
you're making
really a cooking business.
kind of
dude.
sorta. It's catering. It's mac and cheese. It's
I just
whatever you
cook.
get into for the week.
Yeah, and then people give me pesos for the food. Okay, good.
Whatever Uncle Samuel. What is Sam? And I'm trying to get an Uncle Sam reference from Mexico. Like
What's their government called?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
do they have a
their
government?
IRS name for that.
Yeah. If y'all know, please let us know. And maybe
I'm
we
gonna
just
go Uncle Samuel for right now. Don't show your hand, Uncle Samuel.
Remember,
Let them know.
Tio San Miguel. Tio.
Tio Sam. There we go. I didn't translate the uncle. Okay. But anyway, we probably use more gas than most people because we cook a lot, and you cook for other people as well. So part of that is that there is no direct gas connection
That is
to the
correct.
house. Like you don't just
Turn
we
it
were in
on.
North Carolina. There's Piedmont Natural Gas. The line comes from them to the house, and it's just always on.
And they just send
Always
you a
have
bill.
gas.
That's it.
And they send you a bill.
Correct.
Whereas here you got to go, either you got a tank on the roof and they'll fill up your tank, or they may come drop off a whole tank and switch out a tank, depending on your situation.
Yeah.
So like there can be times where you're in the middle of cooking and you don't realize that your gas is about to run out.
Yeah.
And you got no flame, and you're stuck. Like
Pilot light just go. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something like that to think about as well.
Yeah.
Which at home,
Most of us are on a gas line.
and like your gas, unless something terrible happens, like your gas never goes out.
Correct.
Electricity will go out, maybe they're working on a water line or something, the water.
No, that's true.
For the most part, like, you always got gas.
That's true. That's true. Unless
have
you,
gas in the house.
unless you just happen to be in one of those neighborhoods, maybe an older neighborhood back in the States. Because I know my dad had one.
big, like, tanks outside.
Yep, in the
garage.
garage. I remember it was like the carport, and there was like a 300-gallon
Yeah.
tank, and every so often or whatever we
They
had
come
to
and fill it up.
fill it up. So, but other than that, most, like you said, most of the infrastructure is on a gas line.
Yeah.
I do miss that. I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the cool thing is though, it's just still so affordable.
It is
Because like when we talk about how much it costs to live here, you guys know our electric is like under $10, water under $10. And the gas is probably like maybe $50 a month?
Not even that. Depending on how much we use. So, like, when I fill it up, I tell them put 1,000 pesos in there, and that's usually about $50.
And then
That'll last a month or
like
two.
like 6 weeks.
If you're a
Yeah.
regular person who doesn't cook all the time
Yeah.
like us, it'll probably last you 4 months.
Yep. No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It can last up to like 2 months, good months.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
that's not
still
that's not
super
even a full
affordable.
tank. That's 40% of the tank.
Yeah.
If you fill up the whole tank, it'll probably last you 6 months.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So super affordable. Just in
Yeah.
case y'all were wondering.
Next thing, flooring options.
Oh my. Don't look for no carpet.
Don't look for carpet.
Don't you look for carpet.
Hardwood floors, you're not going to find a lot of.
Haven't seen them. I haven't seen
our
them
last
at all.
apartment had luxury vinyl planking.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it was supposed to because the glue came up between.
Oh, that was
the
weird.
flooring.
That was weird.
Everything here is concrete and tile on the floor options.
Trust and believe.
Not the floor, the walls, the everything. That's literally how they build. Like they don't do what they call stick-built houses. There's no wood. There's no drywall. Primarily, it's concrete floor, a cinder block wall, brick wall. Put some stucco over top of it, so it's concrete on concrete on concrete on concrete.
Which keeps the place cool.
Keeps the place cool. Water is not a problem. It has its advantages.
No, that's true. Because like, if there's a whole wall exposed and it's raining,
Right.
wipe it down.
Right. If you got indoor,
Scoop
outdoor
it out.
living, indoor, outdoor water.
Right,
So,
right.
How are we gonna get this water out the house?
You gonna scoop it out?
And carpet is also not great for the environment either. It's
No.
really a whole lot of plastic.
Yeah, that's true. Look at you
And
being all
in particular,
conscious.
Like we're in San Miguel in the desert, so there's a lot of dust.
Yeah. Oh, that would suck.
So,
Ooh.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing though, right? Like you got to be vacuuming every single day.
Yeah.
And dusty carpets. But we got dust on the floor. We have to sweep and mop
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. But
every
that being
surface
soaked into the
in
carpet.
house has to be swept and mopped.
Yeah. Yeah. Wipe
Luckily,
down.
we found this mop bucket that we like a lot. I used to work in restaurants. So you had the industrial mop bucket, and you can come and squeeze the water out. But you don't find
That's
those in
old.
regular stores.
Now, for the record, I'm a Swiffer girl.
Swiffer's okay. I'm
That's
not mad at
just
Swiffer.
me.
I just don't like having to keep buying the sheets
The
over
little-
and over
yeah.
and over again.
Yeah,
They
but
don't last very long.
For the record, too, when we got here, we were unable to really find the
That's true. We
fill
couldn't
up.
find the fill-up sheets either.
So
Yeah.
I had to find something different,
Yeah.
and had let him choose the bucket.
And of course, I got the expensive bucket. But
Can't
I
never do
enjoy
that.
design, and the design of the bucket is really a nice bucket. One of
It's
those,
so
y'all probably
extra.
seen one of those O-cedar buckets where you can kind of like pump your foot. I put a shot in there. You pump your foot and it spins it out using the centrifugal
So
force.
annoying.
And the clean water and the dirty water are separate.
I appreciate that.
Right. It
I
makes
do
mopping the
appreciate
floor
that.
actually easy.
I appreciate
I
that.
won't say enjoyable because it's still mopping the floor, but it makes it a whole lot easier.
That is correct.
Again, if y'all want something like that, link in the description. If you get the drift. But yeah, a lot of, if you're in a place where it gets cold, I can see the floors being really cold and that being a problem. You always want to have some slippers here because you don't have dust and debris on the
We
floor.
wear shoes a lot.
A lot.
I never really wore shoes a lot. You
Yeah,
know.
at home because you had carpet. And, but yeah, one thing to prepare for if you're living in Mexico, and honestly, a lot of the world I think is getting away from carpet in general. Just because, like, why?
Right. Well, for the record, it does feel nice having it on your
It
feet.
does have some nice to have some cushion.
The cushion and the little plushy feel through the toes. I enjoy it, and I do miss it.
I would say if anybody wants to come up with the perfect money-making idea, can you get a good waterproof, solid surface that still feels plush under your feet? I don't know how that works. I'm just saying if you can figure it out, science will do it. You know what I mean? I almost want to say like cork floors. Like if you had this tile and maybe there was a layer of cork underneath of it, so you kind of get a little bit of. Yeah,
Okay.
It won't be as nice.
You're not as
carpet.
crazy as I thought at first. I apologize for looking at him like that. All right, so have you ever been to one of the newly fitted playgrounds where they have like soft blacktop?
Yeah, yeah.
So for
It's like rubber, basically.
yeah.
Rubber would work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
Maybe it's already existed.
And we just need to buy
You just gotta
some.
get on board
We
with
just
the
need to
house.
get some.
Yeah.
Move on.
Your whole house has to smell like rubber, right? Next thing, weather sealed windows. The windows, and I don't know if this is a whole Mexico thing. Definitely a San Miguel thing, from what I've seen so far.
Oh, that's gonna creep in.
Windows are not
Soundproof.
soundproof,
dustproof,
temperature-proof, dustproof, waterproof.
Nope.
Kind of waterproof sometimes.
They're helpful,
If it rains
but
hard enough, it might not be waterproof.
then yeah.
I
They're-
mean, I had to get out the caulk myself and caulk some of the windows and the patio door to make sure no water was coming in the house. But they don't really, it's not about that in the windows. And I think part of the thing here in San Miguel is that there's probably some building codes in place because they want things to look older, look more historic. So there probably are better windows available. They just say, hey, we want you to make it look like it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is. It's got to match the cobblestones, basically, is my thought. But when that sun comes beaming through the window,
It's not the best.
you want a little bit of layer or something to kind of block some of that out.
There's no UV protection, no 2 and 3 panels and all of that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a no.
No.
It's going to be an absolute no. But can I go back to the whole cooking thing?
Yeah.
Y'all, I miss my oven.
I got that on the list, but we'll skip ahead.
I just wanted to go
that
back.
was the last thing on the list, but
I wanted to go back.
Yeah.
I miss my oven.
Number one, ovens are small.
Most
And
of them
number
are
two,
small.
They only give you one rack.
One rack.
I mean, culturally, Mexican cuisine is not oven heavy.
They are not up, but if I'm not mistaken, they said they only use their oven really for storage. No one in my family does that.
Yeah.
I must be Mexican.
So thankfully here, I have to open the oven to light the pilot. Whereas before, there were plenty of times
You
when
just
I'm in the
warming
kitchen
up.
and I'm just warming up the oven, and I come get ready to put whatever I'm putting in there, and there's a piping hot cast iron pan of oil.
Just heat it up.
Grease.
Oh my God. But it was waiting. I was helping you.
No. It is not a storage area. It is a cooking surface.
Okay, time out. Friends, if y'all think that the oven should be used, or not necessarily should be, but it's appropriate, it's okay, and no one should, beat you up about it, use the oven for storage, leave a comment and say, I'm on Jackie's side.
But if you're like me and think that if the oven is used as storage in its downtime, there should be some communication. Just like maybe like when you're in college and you got the girl in your room and you put the sock on the doorknob, so okay, something else is going on. Pay attention.
For the record, that never happened. Did it in college?
No, because I had no roommates. Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to...
You let me out, huh? Okay, sorry, y'all. We'll say that for another episode. Keep going.
Last thing on the list.
They last
This
for me.
is kind of thing. Again, the floors are concrete, but also are the walls. So if you want to hang something on the wall,
My lord, my lord.
you're gonna need you a jackhammer,
A screwdriver, Edward Scissorhands, all of the things.
Yeah.
All of the things.
And a lot of times they're textured too.
So
like the what are they called? The strips. The
the command strips.
command strips don't stick quite right. They're kind of hanging up.
I got some right now. I'm not gonna show y'all. No, but it's true. I think I bought 4 and there's one hanging on.
Yeah.
God bless them.
So there's some advantages to having drywall. It's easier to kind of hang some things on. But honestly, in my experience of trying to hang things on drywall, it was difficult, but in a different way. Stuff would never stay up there. You get the anchor screws or whatever, and they'll anchor for a little while, and eventually it'll fall out.
Yeah. So there is no perfect solution necessarily.
Neither one of these two solutions are perfect.
You're welcome.
There's probably, if you actually know what you're doing, you're probably a little bit more perfect.
Right. But it is possible. You just really need, because there's things hanging.
Right.
There's
Some
things
like
hanging.
hammer and nails you can use.
Correct.
On drywalls.
But you need to drill. You need a drill, baby, drill.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what really is, I think, the thing we were missing. Anything you think of in the moment you want to add?
Homes compared to the States, yes. In one video, I can't remember which one it was, but we did talk about locking up doors.
I forgot about that.
It's a whole situation.
Yeah.
Most Mexican homes is just not a front door. You out. If it is, there's still multiple locks, but most of the times there's a door and a gate.
Yeah.
Like this morning I was trying to leave out with some bags and I'm like, dang, the Uber's rolling up and I got to make my way through a door and then I got to make my way to unlock the gate. Like it's so different.
Like
it's
you gotta
fortress.
use your key on both sides.
On both, we have to unlock yourself to get out. And that's so different from the States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really...
You can't just turn the thing and open the door.
Nah. So that's different.
Yeah.
For sure different. And I think, like, most of the places we've been, the dwellings and things, we said the outdoor living, but there's also more like skylights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not normal, I think, in the States.
Yeah, it's more of like they do a lot of row homes, townhouses, that kind of style, side to side, next to each other. And the architects here, I think, make a big effort in trying to get light and air into the internal of the house. Whereas I think townhouses in the U.S., they really don't make that effort.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get some windows on the front, windows on the back. If you got an in unit, you're lucky you'll get an extra side of windows. But there's no skylight, there's no extra air. Like, they make a point to say, hey, we're going to get some air and some light into the interior of the house.
Yeah.
Probably because no AC.
Correct.
That type of thing. So
Correct.
They're thinking ahead and thinking in ways that are a little bit different because of just the things that are...
They're solving the problem that a central air conditioner would have. Right. So that's different.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely different.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could think of anything else right now. But if we do, we're gonna make sure we bring it back a part 2. Yeah. But you know, it's just been, I will say this, Mexican homes, I like them better. I like them better because of the outdoor living. I think it's just super lovely to have courtyards.
The best of both worlds is what
that's true, right? But you would kill it if we had central air, but they would have to do everything different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there'd be some differences.
They would have to use double pane windows. They would have to seal
cold area.
Correct. It'd be different, right? But I love more so the outdoor indoor living, courtyards, terraza. You know what I mean? Most homes either they have one or the other or both.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that.
And rooftop living and all of that.
Oh, sorry, y'all. The terraza is the rooftop. I didn't mean to say it like, you know, but sound fancy. But no, seriously.
You hoity-toity now that you've moved to Mexico?
See?
I'm an international traveling living person.
But come on, y'all be on the rooftop. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have for you.
Okay, so
797.
Are you enjoying yourself? This week we're talking about things we don't want to get close to, i.e. pests.
Oh my gosh.
I.e. mosquitoes. Skeeters.
Roaches. Spiders. Flies.
Speaking of spiders, we actually were looking at a year or so, 3 years ago, looking at moving to New Mexico, Las Cruces. We live in Las Brisas. We were looking at Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Oh yeah, I don't think y'all know that. Before we looked at Africa, we were looking at staying in the States for a lower cost of living, for a different environment.
So before we looked at Old Mexico, we looked at New Mexico. Yes.
That was cheeky.
And it was all going well. You know, good cost of living, beautiful temperatures. Real estate was really nice to look at. It was a college town, so there was, you know, some things going on there.
It was a blue county.
It was a blue county for sure. But there was something that kind of stopped, particularly my wife, in our tracks.
Absolutely no.
Our friends.
Deuces to the idea.
The tarantula. The big fuzzy hairy spiders with 8 legs. This is take 2, y'all. So last take I said 6 legs. It's 8 legs because all spiders have 8 legs.
But you didn't have to describe
which is why a crab is a spider. Yeah.
I'll sop them up with butter and Old Bay though. Keep moving.
Some cultures eat tarantulas too. With butter and Old Bay.
It's only so much I can say.
We actually scratched New Mexico off the list because of the influx of spiders. It's actually a time of year when the tarantulas are migrating and they're literally by the dozens, like crossing roads and moving through territory. And that just was like a deal breaker.
I think it was breeding season.
Yeah, I think it was mating season. So they're out there looking for a girl and
just being
fresh,
hot to trot.
Hot to trot.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But No longer in New Mexico, we're in Old Mexico now. And we have
Y'all, this thing is real. me and tarantulas, no. Okay, so for real, side note, when I was little, we would go to pet stores. I literally would peek my head in a pet store, ask the cashier, hey, sorry, hey, excuse me, sir, ma'am, are there tarantulas here in your store? Oh, no. Boom, I was free to go.
You're good to go.
I'm good to go. But then if they say, yes, it's there in the back on the bottom shelf, I knew where to stop.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. Go on back.
So, beyond her aversion to tarantulas, you might have an aversion to something else that happens to be here in San Miguel de Allende.
So we want to let you know up front.
And if you find value in knowing exactly what kind of pests are down here when you're coming down, hit that subscribe button because you're going to get value like this that you can't find everywhere.
Nope.
We're not just here for a week looking at the parochia and hitting a restaurant or two.
We want to talk about real life stuff.
This is everyday life.
Correct.
So everyday life starts with and ends with mosquitoes.
Hey.
No matter where you go on this planet, well, no, anywhere warm, there's going to be mosquitoes.
Correct.
If you're in Alaska, I would hope there's no mosquitoes.
I don't think so. Maybe global warming. They may migrate.
Grizzly bears to worry about, but not mosquitoes. So the recommendation is always like clear out standing water so mosquitoes don't have a place to breed. But literally anywhere around town you're going to find empty lots. There's going to be some standing water, particularly in the rainy season where we are now. Earlier before the rainy season when it was dry, wasn't a whole lot of mosquitoes out. Didn't see them because there was no way for them to survive. But now that we're in the rainy season, they're coming out. They're biting me, which they don't normally do. I have like a little one on my pinky finger there.
You will.
Kiss it. Make it better. Kiss it. See, that's what I get. I don't remember who it was left a comment that was like, don't criticize him, love him, appreciate him.
That was a love tap?
Nah.
Who was that?
I don't know who it was. You were right up right now, right there. Appreciate your comment. Please keep commenting.
Oh, Lord.
You see what she just did. And you've even developed your own spray.
Yes.
For mosquitoes and flies.
Gotta get them.
Which consists of?
Gotta get them. Alcohol, and then some essential oils.
Yeah.
So there's some patchouli, peppermint. I think it's patchouli, peppermint, and maybe even bergamot. Okay. Yeah. So there's a good spray.
Natural stuff.
All natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
They right and tight in the morning. Sometimes there'll be like a little cluster on the windows, like good 8-10 of them. Yeah. I might bring out the Raid. Yeah. Just to go ahead and knock that out.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
I'm just putting it out there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Environment.
Talking about the rainy season. Before the rainy season comes, we did have an influx of creepy crawly roaches, water bugs.
The water bugs.
And water bug is really a good way to describe. There are the bigger ones, the palmetto bugs, you might call them in Florida. And really because before the rainy season came, it was a drought, it was a heat wave, and just like any other creature on earth that needs water to survive, a roach needs some water too. So they start coming inside the house to try and find some water, whereas we really didn't see them any other time of the year. Don't see them very much now either, now that there's water everywhere, thankfully. So that's always something you have to look out for, no matter where you live. Right. A roach is always going to show up somewhere. Right.
But it's very popular here to cover drains.
Yes.
So I spray essential oils that I know, well, the internet says that they don't like. Yeah. And then cover drains. Yes. For sure. Yeah.
And also, the way they build houses here, there's always, 100% of the time, a gap underneath your door that leads outside. So we have like a little beanbag snake that we put under the door
that somebody doesn't use on a regular basis, unless somebody else nags them.
Sometimes it just gets out of place.
But we do use the beanbag snake thing to cover the thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever. Sometimes you want actual breeze under the door.
Man, if you don't cover that gap, I come downstairs, y'all be hot. Like, don't cover that gap. Move on. I'm being nice. I'm sorry.
Are you being nice?
I'm sorry. Sorry. It's okay. We all forget things. It's okay.
To round out the insect trifecta that you're going to find everywhere. Roaches, mosquitoes, and flies. You're going to get a fly. Period. Point blank.
My God.
And you want to be here and have your doors and windows open because during the day there's beautiful breezes.
So gorgeous, right?
fresh air, and a lot of the houses here don't have screens built in.
Correct.
There's a patio door behind me. It does not have a built-in screen. I have a screen that I actually hang up from the ceiling, which is actually a little bit too short, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Don't know who measured
space.
it. Don't know who measured that.
First of all, it's only available in certain sizes.
I just said I don't
custom.
know. I didn't say
know who
you.
did. Anyway. Actually, if you go on Amazon, and I'm just thinking about this in the moment where I got the screens from. I got them on Amazon, and they have like a bunch of different sizes you can choose from. So you have to pick the size that's closest to what you have.
Window,
This was closest to what we have. I will leave some links in the description for these screens. I think they'd be useful anywhere. We have some on the windows. There's some on patio doors, so we have some kind of coverage to help them keep them from getting in and out. So that'll be very helpful for folks to kind of see.
And they affix in the middle with magnets.
Yeah, little magnet ones.
They're helpful.
You know, you can easily walk through and get in and out. So now we've kind of gone through sort of the common house pests. There are some that are particular to this area of the world. And one I experienced because I think we went back to the U.S. for a couple weeks. House was empty. We come back home. And you know, like when you're sitting in a space and for some reason your spidey sense goes off.
You ain't alone.
And you look at the exact spot. You just look over. And that bug is there.
You like, wait a minute, I'm looking at you. He's looking at me.
Right.
I'm looking back at him. He's like, what is that? And y'all, I just left. Didn't I? I left out the living room. I was like, babe, you got that? You got that?
Yeah.
And
so
when you
I get up and I explored it. Like you couldn't really tell because he was sort of, I guess, sleeping on the wall, kind of like huddled up. So I couldn't really see what it was. I knew it was a bug. But then he sort of, as I swung the broom at him, he wakes up and his scorpion tail reveals itself. And it was a small one. It wasn't big. It wasn't like a big hard shell. It was pretty small, as scorpions go. So I went to battle. I had to, with the broom, try and attack the scorpion. He was on the door right next to the edge of the door. So as I opened the door to try and get him out, he goes into the crack in the crevice between the door and the door jamb, the door frame. So I couldn't really get him good. So I had to get an umbrella and trying to get in there with an umbrella. And literally he's like windmilling his scorpion tail, in case he hit something, just throwing haymakers at nothing.
Oh my Lord.
So it took a couple times, but with the umbrella, I finally got the right angle to just take him out and squash.
This is the first time I'm hearing the whole story.
I didn't tell you the whole story? The windmill tail?
No, because you told me you almost didn't even want to tell me.
You probably didn't want to hear about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I still don't want to, but I'm doing this for you guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my Lord.
So yeah, scorpions are a thing. They'll end up in the house. That's the only one we've seen in the 2 years we've been here. So, thankfully that hasn't been an ongoing issue.
That's true.
So yeah, that's another thing to look out for, scorpions.
That's true.
I don't know how dangerous the types of scorpions are here.
But spiders, because I've seen people post things on Facebook.
Yeah.
People take a picture, hey, Facebook friends, what is this? And people are so silly sometimes. It's a spider.
Right. Really? You don't say.
Really? No. They obviously want to know, like, I guess, what species do I need to be fearful? Do I need to pack my bags and go back home? But there's always something that really can, I guess, endanger you in that kind of way. But you want to know. So we're just letting you guys know the deal. We have not seen crazy spiders in our homes.
No.
From California to here, we have not seen crazy spiders.
Now, living in North Carolina, I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but there are a lot of brown recluse spiders.
Yeah, there are a couple of friends.
I have a lot of friends I've had to have bites from brown recluse.
Yeah.
They swell up your leg a little bit.
Yeah, I think I've actually heard people be attacked more or bitten more in the States, honestly.
Yeah.
So, go figure.
So, yeah, I don't know.
For the record, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Lord. Close us out.
So, one interesting thing, not really much of a pest, but it was an interesting phenomenon I think that's kind of been happening at this particular house over the last probably 2 or 3 weeks. Like in the courtyard area behind us, you'll see in the
Oh,
background.
yeah.
There's like a little graveyard of dragonflies. We had like 3 of them.
In one day, right? Like 1 or 2
Yeah,
days?
just laid out on the ground dead.
It was weird.
Not sure if like all of her raid spraying finally got to them somewhere and they picked it up, or the secret patchouli oils like got into the system.
Or maybe it was coming to eat the mosquitoes and they just died of
They got
cholesterol.
overwhelmed. They lost the battle.
They ate themselves to death. Shoot, that's not me.
I don't know what it is, but the dragonflies, I don't really see a whole lot of. We happen to have 3 of them dead.
That's so
in the
true. We don't see
in the
a lot,
terrace
right?
area, yeah. So, not necessarily a pest per se, but just a weird happening as we're on the insect. Because we're going to move on to mammals soon enough.
Yes. Are we toward the end of the mosquitoes and the insects?
One more.
Okay, go ahead.
Which we have an experience when my mother did catch on video, which was this really fat, wriggly green and black caterpillar.
Oh, wow.
That was just, on his way into her garage. And
Being
she's
a caterpillar. She's like,
no,
nah.
no thanks. Because like green and black stripes, and it was maybe that fat. It was a good sized caterpillar.
Yeah, I remember
So like
seeing
you
that.
don't know, caterpillars can be poisonous too.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I think when I looked it up, it just turns into a moth at some point. And
Okay.
It's a regular caterpillar.
Oh, my Lord.
But you'll see species of bug that you've never seen anywhere
Never
else.
seen, because you're in a different part of the world.
Right. I've seen some things that look like fireflies, but they don't light up. They like really have the same coloration and
The little wing, how to, yeah.
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 That's so funny. But one thing, just so y'all know, people come to San Miguel and to this part of Mexico for butterflies.
That is true. Not a pest, but an enjoyable experience. It's a time, I want to say it's April.
Is it, spring, right?
Where they all kind of bloom, and there's like literally
monarchs.
forests that you can go to that are just filled with butterflies.
Yeah.
You can basically go out there and they'll fly and land all on you and stuff.
I'm still good with that.
It's
But
still
I'm
a little
not
creepy to
I'm
have
not
something
gonna
on
freak
you, but,
out
like,
and be scared.
It's also a beautiful,
But, yeah.
once in a lifetime kind of thing.
Exactly. So people do come here trekking for monarchs.
Monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I thought y'all should know. Especially if you stuck in to the end, now you got a good one.
Yeah. So going from insects to mammals, a little larger. Have not seen a rat or a mouse at all, which is
Nada.
exceptional.
Rarely see a squirrel.
That's true. You don't see many squirrels.
Rarely have I
Maybe
seen a
once in a
squirrel.
blue moon, you'll see a squirrel. Plenty of birds. But one thing we did have an issue with, I never actually saw the animal myself. My neighbor saw it, and her dogs went off when they saw it. But there was a animal that was going through the trash, so I could see the holes in the trash bag, and they like sometimes you have enough trash where you can't close the lid all the way. And it's
It was a
popped up.
raccoon.
It was
We
a
think-
possum.
A possum. Okay.
And they have particular species of possum. It's not the same kind of possums we
Okay.
have. They're not the all white with the little prehensile tail.
He wears a little sombrero.
It's got a little. It looks more raccoonish. He wears a sombrero. I respectfully apologize to my wife. This is not Speedy Gonzalez. No disrespecting to anyone of Mexican heritage that your possums wear sombrero. Basically, we had a possum going through the trash. And we're in a pretty developed city. You think about possums a little bit more further out in the country. Not
Really?
that far out in the country.
I don't. I think of possums and
possums in the
raccoons
city?
are like being in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Not that you're in the country. You know what I mean? So it's built up. There's 7-Eleven down the street.
Yeah.
There's a McDonald's on the corner, and there's a raccoon coming for your trash.
Yeah.
For whatever French fry you ain't finished.
Yeah.
So to me, they fit.
Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
that's all I got for you. I'm still stuck on that brother wear the hat.
Next to last on this list, there's one on the list that I'm actually just thought of in a moment that I haven't put on the list.
Which is?
But the one before that one is dogs.
In the name.
You think about something that is a pest,
That is above every name.
that is bothersome. And I know y'all love dogs out there, and I like a dog too.
Dogs are cool.
But
Butter wrong.
y'all might be able to hear it in the background. Dog barking outside.
And when these dogs bark, they don't stop.
They don't stop.
They don't stop.
Yes.
The one, they're just yappy dogs. Yes, I said dogs. Just yappy. Just yap yap and bark bark. My God, my God. The funny thing is, The dogs that are on the street, because there's a ton of...
the street dogs don't bark.
They don't bark. They don't do nothing but just look at you, hey. And you be like, oh, hey. Nothing. But the house dogs...
And the thing is, if you were to ask the house dogs and they could speak English or Spanish, whatever, they don't wear sombreros. They would tell you that everything is a pest.
Oh, my.
Milkman coming down the street, sweet potato man, guy on a motorbike, the owner that lives in the house that I know, that's my friend, that's my human. When their car drives up, I have to bark.
Motorcycle, Uber Eats.
I'm on the roof and the dog that's in the bed and the garage starts barking, I'm going to bark just because he's barking.
Because my friend's barking. Because it's a barking party.
When the street dog that comes down is living a free life, that does not have the life that I have.
Has nothing to say.
Nothing. I'm going to bark at him too.
We've seen at least 100. I mean, and I'm not even being facetious or dramatic in any kind of way. Yeah. We've seen literally hundreds of street dogs from California to here. Yeah. There are dogs everywhere, and not one of them has barked. No, not one.
There's no reason to. For what?
For what? For why?
Saw a dog yesterday.
Okay.
His whole backside was furless and had some issues going on. You know, he's probably scratching and biting back there. Something, something getting him.
Honey.
Did he have to bark? No.
Not at once.
But did Sultan on the roof bark at him? Oh. You better believe he did.
Sultan had something
Snowball, Snow Puff, and Snow Creamsicle across the street, all on barking.
Oh, my Lord. So, yeah, that's true. Reason. That's true. And if y'all wonder about cats, because someone did Facebook, like, has anybody ever seen a cat? Very rarely will you see a stray cat.
Yeah, not a lot of stray cats for some reason.
Very rarely. It's very interesting.
My theory is that because there are so many stray dogs, they take care of the stray cat problem.
You think so? Do dogs really eat cats?
I don't know if they eat them, but I mean, if you're on the streets and you're hungry and you ain't got no other
recourse. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Because cats will eat a mouse.
Yes. Dogs will eat a mouse too.
Dogs eat mice?
They will, yeah.
But do dogs really eat cats?
Dogs are carnivores. They'll eat anything. Actually, I say omnivore. They will eat anything. Yeah.
Y'all leave a comment, because I really,
imagine if it gets hungry enough and it comes across a cat and it can actually catch them.
Because I'm thinking about the dogs, not necessarily a wolf, but their cousins.
I mean, if they're out there,
they're canines.
Basically wolves. They've gone back.
But they're so friendly and peaceful. To their roots.
It's like going back to Africa for dogs. They get back outside.
You guys, thank you for
hitting that tribal thing in the dog.
Thank you for sticking in. But for real, if y'all want to know more, send us a little comment, a question. Like, comment,
why are you cutting off my joke? You over there with sombreros on the possum. I let your joke roll.
We appreciate you all. And we reached 100 subscribers. Hey. Thank you, guys.
We've reached 800 subscribers.
That's what I just said.
You said 100.
800.
It sounded like you said 100.
Listen,
Roll back the tape. If she said 100, put in the comments, put 100.
Listen, Linda.
But, yes.
We appreciate y'all.
One last pest I'm going to throw in is...
You better not say me.
People.
Oh, okay. People.
Pests.
797.
And we doing our part for humanity.
Are we?
Sure.
For the humanity that wants to live abroad and wants to think about all the fine details of living abroad that you may not get in that YouTube video where it's just a couple passing through and in a new city, a new town, a new country, every episode.
And all they do is eat.
All they do is eat?
And you be like, you ain't no culture, no.
And the ones that go to Chongqing, China, onto the street where there's nothing but food and they don't eat a single thing while they're there. I can't remember which channel it is, but I'll put it on the screen.
You've been holding that in for a minute.
I might just link the video so y'all can go to the video.
We were watching. We were like, so you're not going to sit down and have a dumpling? They were walking past all this Peking duck, all this fried food. I mean, it was just amazing, glistening and saucy.
Chinese food wonderland.
And it's like, y'all not gonna have a bite to eat?
Not gonna eat nothing.
Not even a bubble tea?
Yeah.
Not even, okay, anyway.
So in short, we live here, we've been here, we're gonna be here for a while. We giving y'all the inside scoop about what it is to actually live here. Not just visit, not just vacation, but live.
Yeah, and even if you don't want to move abroad, sometimes you just want to learn something.
Sometimes you want to learn about somebody else's life someplace else. So those are the things you like. Hit subscribe, because that's what we give you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. So on that note, if those are kind of things that you like and you're thinking about possibly moving here, we want to go over some of the types of people that we see that actually do move to San Miguel de Allende, Mexico in particular. And maybe you fit into one of these categories and might think, man, I'm that kind of person. Maybe I'll check it out. Maybe that's someplace I want to be. Or maybe none of these people even fit you, but you still kind of look at it and say, you know what, I still might like it down there. So just to give you a little outline of who's down here, who you might run into, some of the people, the personalities. And I think one of the first things you're going to find is that this is a artsy community, a hippie community,
Free spirit.
and you're going to find a free spirit here.
Yeah.
Somebody who might just be passing through, just here for a couple weeks, maybe here for a couple years.
Wearing yoga pants.
Yes.
Vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, just special diet needs people. And I'm not throwing y'all under the bus, but that's seriously,
That's the type, yeah.
it seems like they're in that group. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
They heal in creativity some type of way. They're painters, they're singers, they're whatever. And I think even part of that group, which you may not think of, are PhD folks who come down and like, hey, I got to write this
working on my dissertation.
I just want to be down here for, a couple months, write my dissertation, be in this environment, and I'm going to be up and out. I'm going to go back to real life, and I'm going to get me a 6-figure job, and I'm going to go live wherever I'm going to live.
Yeah.
But it's a place where people tend to kind of pass through a little bit because I think it is just a easily welcoming environment. It's an environment you can come in very quickly. You can get a place to live without much effort. There's plenty of low-cost living here. And it's just a really warm, temperature-wise and people-wise community to kind of come into, and there's always something going on. So if you're somebody who thrives off of artist energy, creative energy, like there's plenty of that here.
Yep.
So to come down and soak it up for a little while and let that recharge you a little bit, a lot of people go down that route. So you're going to run into those folks here.
That
for
is
sure.
correct.
What other kind of people would you see here?
Snowbirds.
Snowbirds, for sure. People who are here part-time, who don't like the cold of Canada or Detroit or Vermont or Maine
Yep. And they
or
head
Switzerland.
south.
We just getting out for the winter.
Yep. Wait a minute, time out. Guess what? I found out there's another group to that. I don't remember the exact name, so if y'all know the name, put it in the comments. But these are folks who live in southern states, i.e. Texas, where it's 110, 120 degrees now. They still will fly south in the summer. So I don't know if there's summer bombs or Firebirds, something like that.
Firebird.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I like that. It's so cute.
Another one we'll add to the list.
Yeah.
That's what we got to get some t-shirts made of. Brown collar work, Firebirds, and Karens and Kens.
And Karens and Kens. Yeah. So that was another one. I just found out about this the other day.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, Firebirds and Snowbirds.
Yes, escaping the harsh weather phenomenons of the north.
Because you'll get harsh weather here, i.e. heat, but you might get it for a month and a half. Outside of that, it's pretty mild for the most part.
And that's even rare.
Yeah.
Because when we were going through our heat phase this past May, it was about 4 to 6 weeks, and the locals are just like, this is not right.
Yeah.
It was totally abnormal.
Yeah.
There was no reason why it was 100 degrees, as a general statement.
Yeah.
So
global warming
is global warming.
Yeah.
That is correct. So those are definitely two groups getting out of nature.
Yes.
Trying to find some nicer nature.
So another kind of escaping people are doing is escaping the law.
Social unrest. Wait a minute.
I mean, it's a little bit of both.
No, you don't mean illegal.
I think there are people that are escaping the law.
You think so?
I think so. I have no proof of this. This is purely conjecture, purely theory.
Who you think
I don't know who it is, but
I'm gonna give it to tell me when we get off.
because you kind of see some people who are here, they don't really engage, they're kind of off in a corner, they don't really want to be noticed.
Nothing to see here.
And like we'll
Just
walk around
having a
town with the
cappuccino.
camera in a second because we're trying to get content, and I'll see people see the camera and they're just
I'm out.
immediately turn away.
I'm out. Sombrero, look
they
at the
could just not
brim.
want to be on camera.
Yeah.
But it also could be somebody might be looking for me. Let me
Got it.
make sure I'm not on camera somewhere.
Witness protection.
Yeah. Wow. But also, as you said, social unrest. Maybe you're in a country where things aren't going so well. For us, that's America. For others, that might be El Salvador, might be Venezuela.
Yeah.
You just want to get out of wherever you are and come someplace a little bit nicer.
A little nicer and safer, right?
A little safer.
And believe it or not, even domestics, there are even some internal Mexicans who are like, they may live in a more dangerous environment.
Yeah. And
they're like, no, I'm going to go to San Miguel because it's, and I've met them, you know, I've met them. They tend to work for Uber. So when we start chatting and stuff, and they'll just say, yeah, where I was living was very dangerous, and San Miguel es muy tranquilo.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's literally 45 minutes down the road is Celaya, and Celaya has become
is a danger zone,
a cartel, you know, haven at some point.
Yeah.
So folks are trying to get out of Celaya for sure to come up here.
Yeah, get out of harm's way.
And I think, you know, in general, the other kind of escaping is sort of like escaping the busy city. So there are folks that have come here from Mexico City, from Puebla.
Monterrey.
They just want, you know, that slower lifestyle, a little quieter place to be. Aren't necessarily so hustle and bustle. And there's opportunity here. There's a thriving tourist culture. There's money to be made.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, just driving Uber or driving a taxi. Like,
and just chill.
Just chill, simple work, pick up money.
And look, traffic is 7.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Right? Seriously.
When it's bad traffic, that means I have to get out of Centro and get out to the outskirts of the highway.
Yep.
And I'm going to be in the car for 20 minutes.
Like literally, there's 2 highways, I guess, and you either go on to Celaya or you're going to Dolores Hidalgo. Like, you're welcome. You get 2 options. And there are no high rises, so it's just one of those towns. It's not a sleepy town. It's a real town.
Yeah.
And so you're not getting all that big city traffic and danger and you know.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. Then you also get a lot of people, Mexicans in particular, who have second homes here.
Oh, you better
say
say
Those who
it.
are in the Mexico City, the Puebla, the Monterrey, who have big dollars. And I'm not necessarily leaving that city, but I want some place to escape to on the weekend. So I have a second house in San Miguel.
I'm glad you said that because especially the narrative in the States is that Mexicans are poor and all this kind of stuff. So negative, right? They got money. We've got to.
So we've told y'all about the cobblestone streets and the speed bumps. You'll see brand new Porsches, brand new Ferraris,
BMWs,
Lamborghinis,
Land Rovers,
Teslas,
Rangers,
like that high off the ground. I know the bottom of their car is getting tore up on these streets.
down.
They don't care. They rolling it in. And I'm looking at them. They're not American. They're Mexican. They got money.
Mexicans have money, and we need to understand that.
Absolutely.
Every group of people, you always want to have wealth and affluence. Period, point blank and simple. But absolutely. So for y'all who got that myth bust, believe me, it is real. They will come here, like you say, and they have a weekend home.
Yep.
Period. And you're welcome. God bless them. I want to graduate into that phase one day.
I'm trying to get the first home off.
Man.
I don't know.
But anyway.
But I mean, actually, the way the housing is priced here and even places like Southeast Asia, where you can go get a condo for like $300-400 a month, you could literally have a house here and go live somewhere in Thailand or wherever.
You can.
And be paying less rent than you'd be paying anywhere else in the U.S. Or in Mexico City or in Monterrey. So you can make it work. If you want a second home, you can make it work.
You could do it. You got to be very creative, though.
Yeah.
Very much creative.
I mean, it's not going to be grand vacation house on the beach. It might just be a small condo in the city somewhere. But you can make it happen.
You can make it happen.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, I got a group of folks who I want to share too. Are those who are looking for... they may have an alternative lifestyle. And Mexicans, like I've even heard Mexicans say, we just mind our business. And it's like, we don't really care. You know what I mean? So it's not that they're necessarily embracing your lifestyle. They're not going to bash you for your lifestyle. And other countries, some countries are not like that. You know what I mean? America being one, you know, where people can get really
Depending
hurt.
on where you are. You
can get hurt. So... that is definitely a group of people I've met here. You know. I find it to be very interesting. And it also speaks to the community that you know you can feel safe. You know. That's all we want, right?
I would say probably the biggest community outside of locals that are already here that you'll find coming into San Miguel, particularly over, well, I was going to say for a permanent basis, but really even passing through, is people that are looking to change their way of life. So
I was going to say retirees.
I mean, that's kind of fits in that same subject. It's a different, I think, mindset.
Okay.
Whereas for sure you're going to get a lot of retirees here who can have their retirement money stretch further here and really just have a really nice place to retire. Because a lot of times when you're trying to retire, you want to think about, I want to be someplace where I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I may not want to be in the town I grew up in or worked in for 30 years.
Because even without a 401k, you can be comfortable here.
Right. So people that want to change their way of life could be, I'm working 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, and now I'm ready to retire. And we're going to come down to Mexico because my money's going to stretch further, and I love the environment. Now, with vacation in Mexico all the time, and now I get to actually live there and be a vacation every day. Or also people like us, I think, that have looked at trying to get out of the rat race somewhat, trying to live a digital nomad lifestyle, quote unquote, a way to kind of work remotely, earn money someplace else, work here, and have a better cost of living and a better lifestyle on the budget that you have. So people who are really just trying to understand that maybe the way you're living isn't the way you want to live, and you don't see another option in the U.S. to live the way you want to. So you're looking at other countries, Mexico or wherever, as an option to say, hey, that cost of living is going to afford me a different lifestyle that I really want to live. And my money can stretch further. And, you know, everybody's looking for a better life at the end of the day.
Because like you said, I mean, if we, you know, get really, really crunched, right, our electric bill is $10.
Right.
I mean, you can just go and ask somebody, can I have $10? And somebody will give you $10. So it's easy to recover versus Duke Energy at home, and your minimum bill is going to be $125, $150.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So utilities are cheap. You know, if you go to local markets, you can get really inexpensive food. You know, we pay 15,000 pesos a month
for rent.
If it got crunch time, we could scale down to a 1-bedroom apartment somewhere and pay way less than that if we wanted to. So like you have options, whereas in the U.S., like it doesn't feel like there's any way for you to scale down on
somebody's basement. Which is not a bad thing.
You gotta go back to mom and dad's house or something.
And this is not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it is definitely easier to survive.
To survive, to be able to make adjustments for what may happen in your life, and to be in control of your own destiny here, I think, is a lot easier to do for a lot of people. Whereas back home, you're always at the mercy of somebody else. The mercy of a paycheck, of a bill, of a debt, of a mortgage, of a job.
2-hour commute.
A commute.
All that. It's a lot. Car note, all of it. You know, it was so interesting too, you know, because we look at other people's channels, other, you know, expats, and we're really just trying to shed that weight, you know, all the demands that America has placed on us. And it seems like when they really got into the pinnacle of their freedom, I'm debt free, y'all. I finally paid off my last credit card. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? And it's the American way, right? It's like, it is just horrible. It really is bad. It is bad. So that's probably the biggest group that's trying to shed that, get rid of all the entrapments. You know? And
I think the more I think about it, the mindsets that we have now are possible in the U.S., but I think once you've gotten so far ingrained into the system of the debt culture and the cost of living and having to be someplace that's accessible, and
you gotta have a walk-in closet. The kids gotta have walk-in closets. The kids gotta have their own room. Kids gotta have their own bathroom. And I'm not judging y'all, but that is what we're programmed.
Oh, we had the same thoughts too.
But it's like 2-bedroom is no longer And grandma and granddad and them raised 10 kids.
Yep.
In a 2-bedroom house. Sometimes a 1-bedroom, depending on where y'all come from.
Yeah.
But no, now we got to have a 4 or 5-bedroom house with a loft, with walk-in
Everybody's got to have
closet.
their own bathroom.
He shared, she shared. The dog got his own little space. You just be like, really, guys?
I swear in those renovation shows, we made something special for the dog. We got a dog washing area and a built-in sink to fill up the water in his bowl. Like, you put all that extra plumbing cost into just filling up the dog's water bowl?
It's the American way.
It's too hard for you to take the bowl over to the sink now?
It is the American way.
Yeah. So like once you even realize that, hey, I could have a mindset that is less expensive, it's very difficult to get yourself into a position, particularly if you got a family. If you're just by yourself, you can kind of let some things go and make that transition.
Yeah.
But with a family, like, everybody's comfortable, everybody's got a standard of living they're used to.
Yep.
You want to maintain that as much as possible.
And the culture is keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
So it is very hard to be a 6-figure earner and to live in just a regular kind of a community where the homes prices are probably $300,000 or less.
Yeah.
When you know you can afford more.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard to just have a little Toyota Camry that's 15 years old when you know you can afford a Benz or Audi or whatever. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the trappings, and it's either you get trapped or you escape it, you know, either by disciplining yourself and going, okay, I'm just gonna stay focused. It's all good. This smaller is okay. Living beneath my means is okay, and being comfortable in your skin doing that. Or like us, we left, you know what I mean, just for a new start. So it's interesting, but it takes work and discipline to do it either way. Yeah. So what group do you belong in?
I'm a little bit of a couple of things. Definitely going to try and change the lifestyle, change cost of living. Definitely a creative who comes down, and I don't necessarily call myself a free spirit, but I definitely feed off the creative energy that's here. So I think those will be probably my 2 groups. Eventually I'll probably be in a retiree group.
Okay.
I don't know if I necessarily retire to San Miguel per se, but would want to get away somewhere to retire where my money was stretched further. But I mean, do you feel like you're in a different group than one of those?
I'm in the I want to be safe group.
Okay.
Yeah. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
So that leads us to the question of, what group are you guys in? Do you fit into any of these groups? Are you thinking about it? Are you already on your way? Are you already here? Leave a note in the comments. Are you in one of these groups? If you are, identify yourself. If you're not in one of these groups, and maybe you have a different viewpoint of why you may be leaving where you are and going someplace new, leave us that note as well, because we really are interested to know.
797.
For me, I feel like I have to get suited up for battle, if you will. And that sounds very dramatic, and it is, but I feel like I got to get ready. You know what I mean? I got to get ready for just the different things that make America, America. You know what I mean? For better or for worse. Yeah. I'm just ready. I'm ready for battle. I'm ready to get abused some kind of way.
Welcome to the 7997 podcast. We are your hosts, Chris and Jacki, and my lovely wife. Are you over there giggling already?
Well, because you set me up, I wasn't expecting. Hi, everybody. No worries.
And like every week, we're just trying to get closer to each other and closer to you guys. You may notice something emblazoned across our chests.
We styling and profiling. Do they still say that?
No, they don't.
We are so old.
No, these are, how do young people say, these are fits.
Well, no, it's our swag.
Our swag.
It's our swag.
Yeah. So, Cuidate Arias Garce t-shirts, 7997s.
I got a mug. I had to tell him to buy me a mug. Don't y'all always see me with a mug?
She got too many mugs.
I had to tell him. I was like, hey, El Bay, did you order me a mug too? He's like, no.
Because you got more mugs than a mug. My DC folks know what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to spit my drink. I got more mugs in the mug. Oh, Lord.
So if you haven't had a chance, below the videos, around the channel, you'll see all the merch. Click on it, go through, see what's there. If it's something you like, pick it up, support the team.
Yeah.
$7.99 all day, every day.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, you can actually make your own things. I went to the shop.
Yeah,
you can do your own thing.
Yeah.
So it's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made that available.
Yes, I'm trying.
You did good, babe.
Monetization. That's what they call it.
God is good.
How do you make money doing the thing that you enjoy?
Yeah.
If we can all do that, then I think we'd all be happy.
Yeah, for sure.
So this week, we are talking about traveling back across the border after being in Mexico for 2 years and the times that we have to kind of travel back to the U.S. and what that feels like. Sometimes it's great. You get to see family, you get to see people you haven't seen in a while, but you also get to see things that you don't want to see, whether that be
Got to put them combat boots on.
you got to go to war a little bit if not physically, mentally, emotionally, financially for sure, but yeah, there's sort of a lot to going back. And recently I've gone back for a work trip. I went to Pittsburgh for about a week. What's about Pittsburgh?
I'm just remember about the streaker.
Oh wow. I've forgotten all about that.
See, I didn't.
We're gonna start with the naked man.
Cause it had been a while since you had been back, and I'm checking. How you doing? How was your day? What's going on? And da da da. And he was like, "You not gonna believe what happened today." I said, "Oh no, I'm thinking it's a shooting."
Right.
That happened on my trip last week, but not your trip.
Oh, I got shot in the eyes for sure.
Yeah.
But so I had sold some camera equipment. As you can see, the camera's looking nice, fresher lately because I kind of sold the older cameras we had and I got some newer ones.
Upgrade.
But while I was in Pittsburgh, it's obviously easier to ship around the U.S. to get stuff out. I sent them back from Pittsburgh. So I went to the FedEx Kinko store, actually got off of work and walked through the neighborhood of Pittsburgh. This is my first time in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh actually kind of nice, at least in the summertime. In the wintertime, I don't know. So I walked up to the FedEx Kinko's place and I shipped out my cameras. And as I come out the store, I'm just walking down the street, minding my business. It was basically a straight shot from there back to my hotel. And one woman walks past me like, "Oh, they need to get him off the streets." I don't know why they do that.
And when he told me the story, I thought she was talking about him. I was like, "Well, that's rude." But she wasn't talking about him. She was talking about the other dude.
Another black gentleman, looked like he had been through some things, maybe some mental health issues. Well, probably some mental health issues.
Yeah.
Maybe living on the streets.
Yeah.
He's just walking up the street, butterball naked.
My Lord.
The way that the Lord made him, just walking out there. And I, this is like going back to America, the struggles you go through. And this could happen anywhere, obviously. And I can't say I've had any type of run-in with somebody crazy since probably being in New York. That's kind of the environment you think of that in. But like, that was surprising to be in Pittsburgh and run across a naked man just walking down the street. Other people like crossing the street, whatever. And for some reason, I'm like, you know what? He ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna just walk on by him, and I did, and it was fine. And I kept on about my business.
Wow.
He was living his life in whatever reality he was in.
Wow.
But you also have been back.
Welcome
recently.
home.
Yeah,
I have been back home, and it's not all bad. Like I really want to make sure that y'all know we know for real. It's not all bad. I had lovely run-ins with folks, white folks, black folks, old and young. Great time at church for our 20th anniversary, and but I mean, literally, the very first thing that smacked me in the face was the costs.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that smacked me. I'm on the tarmac. We're like, okay, cool. We taxi in, land. Say, okay, let's see if I can go ahead and start generating Uber prices and see what's going on. $70 to get 20 minutes down the road.
Right, and the thing is, if you compare the two, there were two airport trips. There was the airport in Charlotte when you landed, but also the airport when you left to get
Right.
from San Miguel to Querétaro Airport.
Right.
Which is an hour and a half. If traffic's bad,
Well,
it could
about
be,
hour and 15 minutes, I think, is the norm. But it took me an hour and 45 minutes to get there.
right. That's what I'm saying.
Hour and
it could be
45.
hour and a half to 2 hours.
Depending on traffic, y'all.
And that trip was cheaper
$60.
than the 20-minute trip from Charlotte Airport to where she was staying, which is ridiculous.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Welcome back, sucker.
Yep.
You gonna pay a premium, and I do not miss that.
Yeah.
I really do not miss that. Having to pay so much money for simple things. And I'm really trying to figure out, if y'all know, if anybody works for Uber or Lyft, I need y'all to tell me why 20 minutes and $70 is appropriate. Like, I'm just thinking in my own head, okay, if there was, let's just say, huge fees as the driver, owner of your car, you have $20 that you need, to give to Uber for being a driver.
Yeah.
$50 for 20 minutes.
It's probably more the other way around. Uber's cut is probably steeper.
I can't imagine it. I mean, it's basically in thirds, right? I can't imagine them giving the driver only a third and 2/3 goes to the company.
I don't know how much it is.
Again, if y'all have driven, just drop a comment, because I want to know.
Because I don't trust Uber in general.
Right, but 70 for y'all. I promise you, I landed in Charlotte and I stayed in Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is literally across the border and down the street around the corner to grandma's house. And it was $70.
And it's a, supply and demand type of thing. It's okay, you're at the airport, so you're going to get charged more. They're probably charging surge pricing whenever you're at the airport, because you'll always be busy at the airport.
Yeah, airports always surge.
And they know you don't have a ride, you need to get from the airport.
Need to get there.
You're going to pay a little
But what
extra.
they didn't know is I got a credit card. Okay? Oh. I told you, didn't I? Anyway, what they didn't know is I have a credit card, and I canceled that Uber ride, and
it was cheaper to rent a car.
What? $63, y'all, for 24-hour rental.
Yeah.
So move on, and I went to Ross.
Yeah, I already know you went to Ross.
I know you.
That's why you ripped your new pants, because you know you weren't supposed to be spending no money. You're welcome.
What's next on the list?
Brand
to
new
talk about?
pants and ripped them getting out of the car.
But what he doesn't know, those are from Goodwill. So
It don't matter.
It sort of kind of does.
New to you.
That's one thing I really do miss about home, y'all. That good old Goodwill. Oh, Lord. Shopping, the creature comforts.
We have the equivalent on the streets here.
But I need them. I need 2 and 3
sizes are hard,
X's.
tough to come by anyway.
There's a struggle.
There's a sister on TikTok who does like plus size stuff, and she's always going to the brands and saying, why don't you have the plus size stuff? Why is the plus size section always in the back? Why don't I ever have the same selection?
Discriminatory.
Why I gotta get it online? But that's just life. You go to the Goodwill.
Correct.
The plus sizes you might find them, you might not.
You might, right.
If you're here on the streets, they basically have the equivalent of a Goodwill on the streets. Right?
Yeah.
So people who have clothes and they just put them up for sale, and it might be on the corner here, it might be on another corner
Or
one
the
day.
Tiangas.
Or the Tiangas.
Right.
And they have a plus size, they have it. If they don't, they don't.
Right. It's hard.
If you a size 2, you can find whatever you want.
It is hard. Definitely. Yeah. So I definitely, again, not everything is negative back in the States. So that was definitely pluses.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So I would say next you have here culture shock. Just sort of the overwhelming, I guess, anxiety of being back in this environment. And like, even I know before you got on the plane, there's always the talk of disease.
Oh my gosh.
Are you going to catch COVID traveling? Monkeypox is coming out. Supposedly like West Nile virus is somewhere. All this, crazy sicknesses going around.
Yeah.
And whenever you're traveling and you're going through an airport into an airplane where you're all sharing the same air, it's all very close knit. People are right next to you, breathing on you. It's something to kind of be concerned about. That on a day-to-day basis, whether you're in Mexico or the U.S., you don't necessarily have to have that concern as you do as when you're traveling.
Right.
So I think it's you get just a little bit of anxiety just from traveling in and of itself.
Yeah.
And traveling in and of itself is stressful, especially coming across the border. You've got to go through customs, and if you get special pulled aside for security check.
The special security check. I got chosen, and it takes off my TSA pre-check. So I'm like, man, if y'all don't get, I got doll babies for the babies at the church. I got pottery for sit. I'm just like, y'all killing me.
Because you have TSA pre-check, global priority, and then they say random security check.
Yeah, it's
they
random.
put that little SS on your plane tickets. Look for that SS. If you see it on that ticket when they print it out, you've been randomly. Well, it may be random, it may not be random, but you've been selected.
I will say this: there were probably 200 people on my flight. And there were 3 black people, and 2 black people were randomly selected.
Yeah, you never know.
We'll move on from that.
You never know.
But if I can, just a little side note,
Please.
I just want us to love each other a little bit more. People are still coughing and sneezing and not wearing a mask, not washing their hands. Even without COVID, I don't want your cold. Even without a cold, I don't want your snot. Even with, you know what I mean? I just
Whatever it is, I don't want it.
I just don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't know you like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want his. Okay, anyway. But
Lucky and fortunate to have my
oh
sickness.
my gosh.
You're welcome.
I just want us to do better by each other. You know what I mean? And it's really interesting here. I get concerned about germs if we jump into an Uber and they got all the windows. They have all the windows rolled up. And then they start, coughing and tickling their throats and put my mask on. That's really the only time, because even now you can still go out in the stores. You can still go to restaurants and cafes and people are still wearing masks here.
For sure.
Not everybody, but there are enough people where it's noticeable. Like, oh, okay, you still have a concern. You still have a care. Whether it's for yourself or it's for me, I say thank you.
Yeah.
And in America, no. Back home, I saw maybe 2 people wearing a mask.
Yeah, and even like in parts of Asia where that's just culturally
It's
what
their
they
culture,
do,
right?
They have masks on all the time. A lot of us for like allergies and stuff like that. But so like when COVID comes
And
around,
smog.
right? And smog pollution. So like when a sickness comes around, there's nothing for them. That's the way they live their life. There. So it's interesting that this is extra burden of sickness that maybe you don't think about as readily here.
Yeah.
And I think the other sickness is a sickness of violence that kind of happens. So I think while you were there was yet another school shooting. The one in, what was that, Michigan? Don't get me lying. I don't know.
When?
The most recent school shooting.
No, that was in Georgia.
Georgia, yes.
Winder, Georgia.
Yeah. So, you're in this environment where
it's just
there's violence everywhere, but it's a randomness to it.
Yeah.
And you don't know when and where it's going to happen.
You don't know when it's going to pop off.
Yeah.
And that sucks. That is the worst feeling ever. And I know you all know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Violence is nothing new. Some of us grew up in the inner city, and we understood, something could just jump off, but we understood it as like gang violence, and especially if you're not in a gang, you're not selling weed, and you're not doing this, there's an arc of safety that you believe that you're in.
Yeah.
But now it's just an explosion of violence, and you don't know when and you don't know where.
Yep.
Because it's so random, and it's perpetrated at everybody.
Yeah.
And that is very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very heartbreaking.
It's somebody who has been hurt in some way, is mentally unstable, has access to weapons, and says, I'm just going to go take it out on whoever I can find.
Or they're evil.
Yeah.
Because we do bypass that part. Want to go to mental health, and it's a thing. But let's just be clear. There are just people who are evil. Who are raised in a hate-filled environment.
Evil as a mental health problem.
You think so?
If you are raised in an environment, it has an effect on your psyche. So it's not necessarily that you have some chemical imbalance or genetic predisposition to anything.
Because they use mental health as in schizophrenic kind of diagnoses. But you're saying
anytime that you experience trauma in some way, you are someone who needs help with your mental health. So whether you've just been treated bad by somebody for a long time, it still creates the same mental space as someone who needs mental health.
I can see that as a point.
To me, it's the same thing. It's, a much clearer definition of the type of mental health problems they have.
I'm talking about heart and soul health. But no, you're right.
We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, because they all connected.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is that people don't want to talk about it holistically like this. And it affects all of us. You know what I mean? It affects all of us. So it's very heartbreaking and it's very uncomfortable. To go back, and I'm gonna just put a point on this if it's okay, because of that heart attitude as it relates to injuring other people. You have the mass shooters who are not only willing to shoot up their school, their community, but they're willing to go up out of their community and go to, especially in our country, go and terrorize a brown or black community. So I'm brown, just a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I don't know if you're gonna come and shoot up the Walmart while I'm in here.
Like, who do you have beef with?
Yeah, or you gonna come and get me while I'm on Central Avenue going to, one of our favorite Mexican restaurants or something. Like, I don't know where you're gonna land today. Yeah, that is uncomfortable.
So I saw a TikTok, which is like funny, not funny. But also, it was like acting out a school shooting, and the janitor's in the closet like, I've been cool with this kid all year long. Like, we're friends. I know he's not coming for me. And it's like, there's situations where you don't know which side of or which team you're on. Yeah. If somebody comes in shooting, they might be there just shooting for black folks, or they might be there just shooting for white folks, or they might just be there shooting any and everybody.
Whoever's in the way.
I don't care. Somebody got to die today. And they may end up killing themselves at the end. Yeah. So, like, when you talk about the situation of like gang violence, saying, "Oh, I'm not in the gang, I'm not involved with any of that," you feel like you're safe with it, even though you might be a bystander or something. Yeah. But it's like you don't know whose side they're on or who they're trying to get. Right. So you feel like everybody is at the mercy of this gunman at the end of the day. Yeah.
That's not a good feeling.
That's not a good feeling.
Quite uncomfortable. And then, of course, since I've been back, and I've only been back a week, you have the man who is a veteran, who's shooting on the highway in Kentucky. So you're just driving on the road now. So it's too much. Yeah. It's too much. And it's the most uncomfortable thing. Absolutely.
I think what's also uncomfortable is when you kind of come back, and to you it's sort of a special occasion. You've made this trip back to the home country. And
to my homeland. Yeah.
Not everybody has time for you. Not everybody has time to, drop what's going on in their day and their schedule and say, "Oh man, Jackie's back in town. Let me spend the week with Jackie." It's like, nobody really has a whole week. Nope. You might get a quick lunch. You might get a ride to the airport. So that sort of dealing with, you come back and you want to reconnect with people, but people have lives and they're busy, and they may not be on the same timetable that you are.
Yeah. And that's hard sometimes. And I also feel the same way. Like, I want to go and see, A, B, C, D. It is like, I can't. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think the next time I'm just going to make a concerted effort to like, all right, y'all, let's just go to the Golden Corral. Because I know it's at least affordable. Everybody got a little salad, a little chicken, and if you can have a big space, and then boom, I'll be there from 10 to 2. Yeah. And that's that. Yeah. Maybe not 4 hours at the Golden Corral, but you know what I'm saying, 12 to 2. Yeah. And that's that. Come and see me if you can. But yeah, life goes on. And so for anyone who was looking and I didn't get a chance to see you, sorry. I really am sorry.
Yeah, and like to me it's a little different. Like when I went back, I went to Pittsburgh, and nobody's really that close to Pittsburgh. Yeah, no family, no friends. So like my oldest son is in New York, and my youngest is down in North Carolina. Right. So like I have family in the DC area, but like everybody's at the very least 4 hours away. Yeah. So it's really hard to kind of connect with people in that, and like.
But they would have, babe. They would have.
Right, and I don't necessarily want to put people out, and I know like I'm there for work, so really I'm just kind of spending most of my day at work. After that I get something to eat, and then I was just kind of chilling in the hotel. Like, for you to drive 4 hours down, and like we're in the city I don't know, it's okay. I'll catch you next time. It's all right. Don't have to go break your back trying to come and see me. It's fine. But like if you're in the same town, you want to see folks and get around and make those connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard.
So like, there's also this idea of like, you have two homes. So like, when you come back to the States and you're in your home area, wherever
I'm about to say, because when we go back, we're homeless.
right.
Let's
right.
be clear. It is so
But like,
weird.
Mexico is home now, so
Yeah.
you start having homesickness. You start missing your own bed and your own environment, your own place
Right.
that was back in Mexico. That now, like when you go home, maybe it doesn't feel like home as much as
Correct.
anymore. You know, the
Correct.
people make it feel like home, but you're not like going to a particular house or a particular neighborhood. It's just, I'm here and I'm hanging out.
Here in
and
the
I'm
zip code.
in America.
Yeah.
And I'm going back home in a week.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the beautiful part of it, is that, you know, you get to go back home at some point and relieve some of that stress, get some of that weight off of you.
Yeah.
But it's tough kind of being back home and not being home, but it is home.
Yeah.
There's a weird dichotomy with it.
How did you? So you felt that?
Not in Pittsburgh as much.
Because it was a new
felt
city.
like it felt like home in that it's America,
It was
and
America.
it's a city and it feels like other cities. So like it felt like being in DC or being in New York or Philly or any other place. So there was just a certain familiarity you have, and like as I walk around, it's a new city to me. It still feels like America. And other different things.
Correct.
But to me, you know, it wasn't as home as much, just because it's a new place and I was really out exploring a little bit, walking around town and seeing what's there.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get that sort of feeling like I was at home. It still felt like,
It would have been different had it been DC or Charlotte.
right.
Got it.
It felt like a work trip at the other day, and it was a work trip.
I got it.
So what I'll say lastly is saying goodbye. When you get there and you get the chance to be with family, you get the chance to be around those people you haven't seen in a long time, and it's time for you to head home, and then you have to finally say, peace y'all, we're out, and go on back home, and like severing that tie once again, because you've been away for so long, and now you're back home, and you get to be, it almost, I think, drags you back into a home environment when you're around people that you've been around for a long time, and now you kind of miss them, and you kind of get to relive memories and reconnect and feel like, oh man, we in the same space and presence and feeling each other. Like, what does that make you feel like when you said this was the first time you didn't cry when you left?
This was the first time I did not cry on the way back home. Y'all, I'm a crier. And it was, shut up. And it was weird because I wanted to, but I think it would have been forced tears. Do you know what I mean? Because I was ready to leave. I was ready to leave, and there's also a sense of I'm more comfortable here than I am there.
Yeah.
If I could pack up my church and my peeps and a couple little bits of food, I would never have to go back. Like literally, I would never have to go back.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, it was weird, but I'm telling you, I wish Miles could come and, a couple of the friends and family. But I didn't cry this time. And it also didn't help. It did not help, like the shooting. It's like, it's almost like going back what Hakeem Jeffrey says, your boyfriend we broke up with. You know, it's almost like that relationship. Like you go back and then it's good for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're reminded as to why they suck.
Yeah.
And that, I think that definitely helped.
Yeah. It
helped to remind me, this is why, Yeah, absolutely. But I do miss y'all. And it was so sweet because I didn't tell everybody at church I was coming. So, when they saw me, like, oh, Sister Ross, so they was like, you're back. And then I will tell you what I've noticed. I think some folks are reserved, don't want to see me, or even don't want to get too close because they know I'm leaving again. I have felt that. I know who you are. No, but
like you don't want to reestablish that closeness and then break it again.
Because I know you're gonna leave.
Yeah.
And there's some people that never say goodbye because I know they'll cry, and I know who you are too. You know what I mean? So it's just, all right, I'm gonna go that way. I know she's gonna go that way, and then I'll see her next time. You know, some people don't like to say goodbye.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something I noticed on this trip.
Yeah.
But now I want to cry. Close us out.
So, all kinds of great stuff going on here at 7997. Obviously, the merch we talked about. The membership is still out there. 100 pesos, around $5 a month. Get access to great new videos. Latest video we actually have is like a behind the scenes of us talking about dealing with our adult children, which is an interesting thing. There's also a brand new website up, 7997.life.
High five it.
Not .com, not .net, not .org, .life. 7997.life.
LIF.
The numbers.
Like Frank E. Yes.
And the key thing you want to notice there is that we have the ability to schedule a consultation.
Yeah.
So if you're deciding on moving to Mexico in particular, or just living abroad, or just want to talk, we have consultations open. Feel free to book with us.
Yep.
We want to have a conversation with you.
Yep.
We want to share our experience with you guys a little bit more. So that is there as well.
And that was out of necessity because you guys reach out to us.
For sure.
So
People
we're
have
like,
been asking.
okay, well, let's just make it a clear way of doing it.
Yeah.
Organize it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to those of you who are buying us a coffee. Shout out to Ritzy
Thank
D
you
in particular.
guys. Yes.
Who bought 3 coffees. Thank you so much. We have a brand new 7997er, Miss Carla Lee.
Hey.
So, we're trying to grow this thing. We love that you guys are growing with us. As always, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep.
Buy coffee, do all the things.
And we're working on new projects too.
Yes, new projects coming. And you know what? We never actually said on the video what 7997 means.
Oh yeah.
So, drum roll.
79 is the year we were born.
Yes.
And 97 is the year we graduated.
Yes.
Now, how many other years can do that? None. None. None, 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 none. Not even 78. If you was born in 78, you did not graduate in 87.
Yeah, that'd be the closest.
Yup. If you were born in 67, you did not graduate in 76.
Yeah.
79.
Yes.
That year is the only year.
So if you guessed that it was a secret Illuminati code, or something,
Y'all wrong.
it is not. If it was, we'd have been monetized a long time ago. Illuminati take care of their people. I'm just saying.
You crazy.
Don't get dribbled on a brand new shirt now.
Gosh, God is good, and we grow when we need to grow. We're planting, we're watering, and the Lord gets the increase. Close us out.
He Catholic now? Is that what it is? So we will see you guys next week. As always, thanks for watching.
Yes, y'all. Thank you. Cuídate.
Arias Garce. Take care and take a chance. And we'll see y'all. Peace.
Y'all be safe.
This is the 7997 podcast, your home for raw and honest conversation, featuring Chris and Jacki, with new episodes every Sunday, wherever you get your podcasts.